Chapter 181 Fat Cat, Skinny Cat and Good Cat. Roy watched the play with great energy. Elated. But that's all you need to watch, just sit quietly and eat popcorn. Why bother yelling to get attention? As a result, the pirates who had the upper hand and basically established the victory were unhappy. Where is this strange creature from? It's so arrogant. Does this treat us like monkeys? Do you think we are playing a monkey game? However, a roe deer who can speak human words, and a cat that is not ordinary at first glance, should be able to buy a good price if you catch it. Come on, go 2 people to catch them, the pirate head shouted. It's been a long time since I looked at that deer. Give them some color. Don't underestimate the pirates, idiots. The 2 pirates rushed towards Carter and Roy. Carter yawned, then stretched out his fat paws and pinned them to the ground in one fell swoop. This makes the pirates' heads and faces a little uneasy. Are their subordinates so useless? How could it be settled so easily by a cat? He waved his knife. 2 more people. The result is still the same. Carter glanced at him with indescribable contempt. Refueling tactics. Don't you know how many kilograms your subordinates have? At the glance of Carter, the pirate's face became even more unbearable. He walked up on his own, and he had no confidence in his subordinates. Bastard cat, were you taunting me just now? He stopped 3 meters away from Carter and pointed his knife at Carter. Carter threw a look that you are not stupid. The corner of the pirate leader's eyes twitched and his face flushed. Bastard, are you courting death? I'm a big pirate with a bounty of 20 million. Known as. Carter was not interested in listening to him, and punched him directly in the stomach. Little boy, the name is not important, I don't want to know at all. Ouch, the pirate leader just fainted. It's not good, boss, don't knock it down. Everyone, run. A group of dishonest pirates fled like birds and beasts. The pirate and the leader who were defeated by the boatmaker were left in the same place. Hey, is this the end of the fight? Roy was a little disillusioned. How about I wake this guy up and let him keep fighting? Carter suggested. Roy frowned, as if he was really considering the feasibility of this operation. In the end, he shook his head, and the acting was always not real. John Mao, let's go shopping. Okay, Roe dear, Carter nodded. Are you rich? I want to buy a lot of things. Roy opened his arms and made a gesture. Carter, who has been in charge of the financial power all the time, patted his chest and said, no problem, there are plenty. When Enel returned to the dock with the iceberg, he saw pirates tied up with ropes. The injured boatmen have been taken to the hospital. Seeing such a scene, Bingshan first asked, how are you doing? Are you all right? A black-haired boatman with a scar on his face replied, it's not a big problem, a few were seriously injured and have been sent to the hospital. This is the brick boy who had just knocked down several pirates and was slashed on the back. Blaze, your injury is not light, go to the hospital quickly. Someone persuaded him. Blaze smiled and said, it's okay, the wound is very shallow. I'll stay here. If the pirates who escaped dared to come back to save their boss, I would definitely give them a good look. Iceberg watched Blaze's eyes. Subordinates are so hard-working, diligent and conscientious that they can be cultivated. Don't worry, it's all right, just leave it to me here. Those who are injured will go to the hospital, even if they are slightly injured, it will be troublesome if they get infected. Thank you for your heroic battle this time, and I will be responsible for the medical expenses. I will give out another bonus later. Quote. Oh, cheered the boatman. Nothing is more encouraging than something real. Iceberg patted Blaze on the shoulder and said, you are very good, okay, go to the hospital quickly. Blaze said, no, that's what I should be doing. His goal was achieved, and he didn't hold on to it. He stayed still, just to show the boss how hard he was, and now he has left an impression. Then there is no need to mess with your body. Iceberg then asked those who were not injured what happened. When he heard that the pirate was knocked down by Enel's cat, he looked at Enel in surprise. Enel shrugged. Can't beat Carter, this is normal. Maybe even Enel himself couldn't win it. Enel was curious about what kind of race Carter was to have such a powerful fighting force. Even if it is to run away from the combat skills it has learned, relying solely on physical fitness, it has terrifying power. I don't think I need my help. I'll go to the water capital for a while. Contact me if you have anything. Enel handed over his contact information to Iceberg and walked towards the city. I'll give it to you later. Enel was referring to gold. With so many people around, he didn't want to expose his relationship with Iceberg for the time being. Iceberg nodded. Enel suddenly remembered that there seemed to be an old man here who was very good at cooking. Just don't know where exactly. Rented a blue again and wandered around. He bought a few pieces of water and meat, and then threw one to Bruce, and the rest dangled in front of him. Help me find Grandpa Pang Pang. These groups are all yours. After Enel's stimulation, Brew was obviously more excited and swam very fast. Carter and Roy walked down the street together, and everyone around looked at the pair in amazement. Although Carter is huge, his round figure looks a bit naive. And this is a great waterway, what is a mere big fat cat? There's a lot of weird stuff going on. The hearts of the residents can bear it well, and there is no panic. When they were a store, Roy suddenly stopped, staring blankly inside. Looking at the square inside that can still be opened page by page, John Mao, what are you selling here? Carter took a few glances and said, this is a bookstore. I heard Enel say before that it is filled with wisdom. That is the crystallization of human beings' efforts for thousands of years, and it is also the means by which they can dominate the world. This is the most important legacy that humanity can surpass us. Is it so powerful? Roy walked in with little stars shining in his eyes. Carter was so fat that he broke the door frame when he squeezed in. In the face of the angry bookstore owner, it is a stack of Baileys in the backhand. The bookstore owner immediately changed his attitude. Guest, please, our store has the most complete range of books in the entire water capital. Please take your time to read. No matter if he is a fat cat or a skinny cat, if he can bring Bailey, he is a good cat. Chapter 182 Raw Bludge. Roy sat on Carter's head, holding a magazine in his hand, and was fascinated. It is illiterate, but there are many pictures in the magazine. This makes it interesting. Carter walked in two short backs with two baskets in hand, baskets full of books. Stack it up to the point where Roy can easily get it. Originally it was intended to fit into the backpack space. But Roy said that it can be held so that he can change it at any time. Seeing this scene, many passers-by were ashamed. Look at people who know how to study even a deer, go shopping for books, and look at all kinds of snacks and clothes in their hands. Ashamed, ashamed. Carter moved his nose, and he smelled the fragrance of the food. Although it is not a fish, it is not inferior, or even better. Roe dear, let's go eat, I smelled a good smell. Well, okay. Roy still stared at the book, looking like he was studying hard. Carter trotted along the scent and came to a boat parked by the river. His nose told it that the scent came from inside. Carter jumped into the boat, and the waterline of the boat went a lot deeper. The hull swayed, and an old man who was dozing off against the hull was knocked on the head and woke up by touching his head. Ah, who's so rude, he muttered as he stepped out of the awning and saw a plump pink cat drooling at the plate he had just eaten. Those aromas were just what was left after he cooked the dishes. Tiger. No, this is a cat. Or a sea beast. Grandpa Pang Pang couldn't tell Carter's race for a while. Carter pointed to the plate with his paw. You want to eat? Carter nodded quickly, then took out a stack of Baileys. He took Bailey and muttered, whose cat is so educated? What do you want to eat? Meow. Carter had been gesturing for a long time, but his grandfather and grandpa didn't see it. John Mao said that he wants to eat fish, and by the way, he will give me a fried rice. A crisp female voice sounded. Only then did he realize that there was a deer on the cat's head. What's up with this combination? Are the zoo walls broken? Anal Road blew around the water capital for a long time and couldn't find Grandpa Peng Peng, and couldn't help but feel a little frustrated. At sunset, in the sea breeze, the waves are rolling, and the breath of the sea is oncoming. Anal sat on an abandoned pier, surrounded by a lot of rusted steel, discarded wood. The sky to the east was blue and deep. To the west are clouds that burn like fire. The golden radiance sprinkled down, and the sea glowed with golden light, as if plated with a layer of gold. Enel had a relaxed and happy feeling, as if his mind had been purified. The slaughter, tyranny, and rape all receded, leaving behind a calm like an ancient well. Clenching your fists, crush a stone to the ground. Feel the rough touch between the powder flow. Enel closed his eyes, enjoying his current state. However, indulging in enjoyment is not a good habit. Weakness is the greatest original sin. Hurry up and become stronger, so that the three major monsters of this level will no longer become a dark cloud shrouded in your head. That is the priority. Don't slack off, don't stop. The relaxed feeling is gone. Anal picked up the phone bug and dialed Doflamingo. The phone was connected, and the phone bug's eyes turned into long and narrow eyes, and the sinister appearance was exactly the same as that of Doflamingo. Long time no see, Dover. Who is it? Doflamingo's tone was a little suspicious. Hum, although it's been a long time, you just forgot me like this, which makes me very sad. Anal revealed his identity with his laughter. Yang, so it's you. The black coffin that has disappeared for several years is finally reappearing on this sea. Dover, you should already know why I'm looking for you. How's it going? Are my things okay? You still can't trust me. Very good. 15 devil fruits are lying quietly in my cabin now. Do you want them now? I've been so busy lately that I can't send someone to deliver them. Come by yourself. Doflamingo glanced at the cupboard by the bedroom. Doflamingo is really busy right now, and he is planning to take the seat of the king under Chihuahua. Although there is still a long time before the delivery of Tianshengzhen, many things have to be prepared. I see, where are you now? Enel returned. I'm about to arrive at the Chambord Islands. I'll wait for you there for 3 weeks, and then I'm going to the New World. Are you in a hurry? The Chambord Islands are not too far away. If Enel used the dark gravity to hurry, it would be possible to reach it in 3 weeks. His ship, Iceberg, is in the process of being built, and if nothing else happens, one will be ready tomorrow morning. Hurry up, wait for me. Let's talk about it first. I have something to solve on my side. Yang then, goodbye. Click, the phone worm's head droops down. Enel's eyes became sharp, like a blade. Is something wrong? A man in a black suit walked up to him. The bounty is 150 million Baileys, Anal Viserys Leforwater. A famous pirate in the North Sea who once captured the capital of a country by himself. He suddenly disappeared 6 years ago and his whereabouts are unknown. Quote. You're not dead yet, genius among pirates, germ of evil. The visitor is tall and straight, standing like a pine tree. He walked very straight, and there was no movement in his body. He wears a tall black hat and a white dove on his shoulders. His face was expressionless, as cold as a snow-capped peak that remained unchanged for 10,000 years. You've got the wrong person. I'm not a pirate, I'm a good citizen. Anal didn't want to make a pointless conflict. He didn't want to be targeted by the intelligence agencies yet. These dark guys are like maggots on the tarsal bones, and it is difficult to shake them off if they are worried about them. From the appearance of the opponent and the pigeon, 9 feet's intelligence personnel, with dark justice as their vocation, the strongest killer in the history of CP9, known as the cold-killing weapon, Rob Lukey. The world government paid a lot of attention to you back then, but you suddenly fell silent when you became famous. Everyone thought you were dead. Cut till the trouble. If you want to die, I'll do it for you. Enel put away his smirking expression and looked at the other party with murderous eyes. The momentum on his body was unreservedly released, and the wind howled, making his windbreaker rattle. Darkness poured out of the fist, and then the whole hand seemed to be particleized, and countless tiny dark particles trembled. Chapter 183 Silly Enel. Enel was speechless. He didn't know how Rob Ludge recognized him. He never met the latter. The spy agency should only have information about him 6 years ago, but Lucci actually confirmed his identity as soon as they met. This is very unreasonable. In 6 years, his appearance has changed a lot. This time is just in the period of physical development, and everything about height has changed. Even acquaintances may not be able to recognize it. Only Carter and the Scorpion Pirates should know his identity now. It is impossible for Carter to betray him for no reason. Could it be the Scorpion Pirates? But how could they contact CP9? Could it be that they are actually government agents, or that some agents have infiltrated the Scorpion Pirates? But how could CP9 pay attention to such a small pirate group? Anastasia's bounty is 170 million Baileys, which is indeed not low in the first half of the Great Waterway, but it should not be enough to attract the special attention of CP agencies. Unless there are special circumstances. It looks like I have to pay attention to the situation of Scorpio in the future. Enel thought about it a lot, but he thought too much. Lucci was just impressed by his information, and just came back from the mission. I was planning to take the sea train back to Judiciary Island when I happened to see Enel. I feel that he looks very similar to the reward order in my memory, and it seems that the age can be matched. With a cautious attitude, I came over to confirm. At first, seeing Enel's extraordinary bearing, he affirmed his own guess. But Enel denied it, which made him doubt his own judgment. After all, the strong have their own pride, and few people will deny their name. But in the end, Enel was ready to act, even if it was a final conclusion on this matter. I didn't expect it to be me. At first, I just wanted to come over to confirm, and I didn't plan to fight. I didn't receive an order to act against you. But since you've already planned to do it, then I don't either. Reason to retreat. Quote. Let me see how far the seed of evil that was roaring in the past can do in front of me. I am really confident now, but what kind of expression will you have in a few minutes? I really want to see behold evil, there is no way out in this world. There is no way out for evil. Of course, evil is the loser. How can the loser have a way out? The winner is justice. Do you want to be my subordinate? Enel stretched out his hand, make an inviting gesture. I will not be in the company of evil. Evil pirates should be eliminated. The pigeon flew away from Lucci's shoulder very obediently. It knew that its owner was going to fight, and staying by his side would be affected. When it flew away, it kindly took Lucci's hat away. Avoid getting the hat off in battle. You just said that you didn't plan to fight at the beginning. Would you like to shake hands and make peace? I didn't want to call. I don't really like doing thankless things. Enel suggested. I have nothing to say with the evil one. Since we are all ready to fight, there is no possibility of stopping. Rob Lucci said lightly. You can only fight. Enel was a little helpless. Enel's darkness spread from his fist to his arm, and then all over his body. A faint black smoke-like substance scattered behind him. Shave. Point the gun. Rob Lucci attacked directly. Finger spear dragon. Enel didn't dodge or dodge, and directly stretched out his right index finger and poked Lucci. Head to head, Lucci is very confident. He eats animal-type devil fruits, and he is absolutely not cowardly. Enel is more confident, he just came all the way. Combat has always been so wild and brutish, with no skill at all. Lucci's fingers pierced through Enel's scales, but did not penetrate. The dragon scales cancelled out a large part of the power, but Enel left a deep wound on Lucci's shoulder. Noticing something was wrong, he quickly backed away. Enel's claw slashed, widening the wound he had inflicted. Enel's hand was dark, and he couldn't tell whether he was clenching a fist or grasping. But just now, Lucci also noticed a part of Enel's ability. It looks like you are also an animal demon fruit person, and you have the power to manipulate the darkness. Are you an phantom beast? Lucci's face was solemn, and there was a blood hole on his shoulder. The strong resilience of the animal system has made him no longer bleeding, but the wound still exists. Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. Enel said ambiguous, and it is the fool who introduces his abilities to others in battle. His injuries were relatively light, and with his resilience exceeding that of ordinary animal-type abilities, Lucci's attack just now had little effect on him. Why do you use CP9 feat's moves? Lucci was a little puzzled. Although the 6 forms are not that rare, they are definitely not used by everyone. Generally speaking, among the pirates, only those big pirates in the New World and a very small number of dark merchants who have close contacts with government officials can get them. In the original work, it will feel like a bad street. That is because all the top forces appear in the original work. What the comics express is the confrontation between the elites of this world. The original show is only the most exciting part of this world. So of course, the strong are like clouds, but the pirate world is very big, and more are not seen. Putting these elites in the entire pirate world, and putting those who know 6 styles in the entire group, is indeed a rare existence. Enel is clearly not among those pirates who can acquire the 6th form. It was a stormy night, and Miss Khalifa and I had a wonderful encounter. We exchanged tokens of love. I gave her a ring with diamonds the size of a fist, and she gave me the 6-style practice method. That's how the finger gun was learned. Enel was full of nonsense. Oh Tilda, that beautiful and moving young lady taught me hand in hand and corrected my wrong posture. Her smooth skin, her graceful figure, and her charming voice are simply irresistible. Looking back now, there is a kind of warmth and sweetness. It was a wonderful and unforgettable time. Enel's words are sincere, and the words are full of love and happiness. As if it were real. But the above is purely lustful, and Enel did not have that kind of encounter at all. Maybe in a dream. Lucci's face darkened. He had not listened to Enel's thoughts, and could not communicate well at all. Chapter 184 Lucky with a Big Brain. Lanzhou. Lucci launched an attack directly. Hey, listen carefully to what others have said. Enel sideways dodged the attack and complained dissatisfiedly. Lucci already had a hint of anger. It can be seen from the title page comics that the relationship between their CP9 group of combat members is very good. Even Gabra, who usually seems to be at odds with Lucci, is only arguing, but at a critical moment, he is the closest comrade in arms who can trust each other's backs. After they were defeated by the Straw Hats in the original book, the Spandams wanted to shirk their responsibility and sent someone to kill them. They still did not give up the treatment of Lucci, who was seriously injured on the way to escape. Even in order to earn medical bills, they do many things that are very incompatible with their status. Enel arranged Khalifa so recklessly, even the calm Lucci couldn't help but feel anger in his heart. But he didn't show anything, he still looked cold. But Enel's words did cause him to think. CP9 members should be kept secret. But why does Enel know this? Just a coincidence of the same name. No, not possible. Enel clearly mentioned 60, and said it in front of him, so it was basically certain that the Khalifa he was talking about was his partner in the same class. The other party didn't seem to have much reaction to seeing him. Maybe he didn't take himself seriously. It could also be knowing who you are from the beginning. Why? Why would he know? Someone leaked. The idiot face of his boss, Spandam, suddenly appeared in Rob Ludge's mind. According to the style of that guy's greed for money and love of drilling camps, it is indeed very likely that secrets will be leaked. It is also very likely that someone else has taken away the information, but he has no idea. After all, that arrogant guy has no real talent at all. It was entirely with the help of his father Spandane, plus stalking horses, that all kinds of digging camps climbed on their heads. It's not surprising that something went wrong. However, in either case, one thing is certain. That is, Enel seems to know a lot about them. Here comes the problem. CP9. The world government is directly under the secret espionage agency. Enel has been silent for 6 years. Where has he been during these 6 years? What did you do? Why do you know so much about CP9? A pirate, instead of killing, burning, looting, or moving towards the goal of One Piece, instead investigates the CP organization, the purpose of which is worthy of vigilance. If it is said, originally Lucci just wanted to confirm whether he was anal himself, with a casual attitude whether it was true or not. So get serious now. CP9 members was supposed to be secret, but now it has been leaked. At the same time, there are also 6 types of practice methods. This is their dereliction of duty. Espionage work has always been their domain, and since a mistake has occurred, it must be made up for it. You can't go on gaffe, or they will lose all face for CP9. In fact, how can Enel point a gun? He just used the hardness of the dragon's claws to poke others with his fingers. There is absolutely no technical content at all. He was using a fake finger gun. It's fun, that's why I say that. But Rob Ludge took it seriously. Coupled with Enel's cheap mouth, the exposed information made Lucci really notice him. Enel didn't expect Lucci to be so biased. If you let him know that he was on the notice list of the CP organization because of his nonsense, it is estimated that he would have to slap himself twice. No wonder Lucci thought so, because this was the greatest possibility. He almost decided that Enel was trying to spy on world government secrets. Judging from the style of work that the intelligence revealed, Enel was a cautious and purposeful person. So what is the intention? It's worth 6 years for such a supernova to endure. Combined with where he is now, the city of water. That's all I can think of. Ancient weapon Pluto. Lucci speculates that Enel may also be paying attention to the Pluto blueprint. Therefore, CP9 was specifically investigated. Both sides have the same goals, and it is not surprising that they would investigate their opponents for possible conflict. But what a gaffe this is. As a secret espionage organization of the world government, it can't even detect the enemies that are close at hand. Instead, a lot of secrets are lost. No, maybe it's not that it wasn't found, but that someone deliberately intercepted the information. Lucci's anger rose in his heart. This is simply the biggest shame in CP9 Feet's history. If you can intercept such important information, then that person's position must be above him. Lucci was in his physique, so he couldn't move at him unscrupulously, he couldn't help that person. Then I had to kill the source, the pirate in front of me, the black coffin anal. It should be the culprit, so as long as you kill him, everything will be fine. CP9 should not be exposed, and it must be stopped before things evolve to that point. Although he said that this is just a speculation of his, but even if it is only a possibility, it must be treated with a serious attitude. This is the code of conduct for their espionage agency. What if it was true? To do this kind of work, you must be meticulous and treat every possibility with rigor. Moreover, killing pirates, although he did not receive such a task, did not conflict with his justice. In other words, he is implementing his own justice. Well, of course, do your best to kill him. Rob Ludge was determined to kill. Enel felt that the killing intent on the opposite side suddenly surged, and the dangerous aura became more intense. The monk Erzong was puzzled. What's wrong? Doping. Still on drugs. Brother, you don't need to fight so hard, do you? Did I provoke you? Misfortune comes from the mouth, and the words of the ancients are always full of philosophy and wisdom. Perhaps Enel should learn more about this esoteric philosophy. Although this was far from a disaster, for Enel, trouble was inevitable. Tigers don't show their power. I really think I'm a sick cat. Enel was a little annoyed by Lucci's pressing step by step. He just wanted to let Lucci retreat, but now, he really wants to kill. A cold light flashed in his eyes, and his pupils glowed a touch of red. After flashing a finger pistol from Lucci, he punched him in the face. Iron block. Lucci crossed his arms in front of him, blocking Enel's attack. But he felt a huge force coming from his arm, clenched his teeth, and his chest was agitated. Stepping back a distance, both feet made a scratch on the ground. Chapter 185 Luigi vs. Enel. It's a terrifying strength. It seems that the bounty of 150 million Bailey is still too low for your head. You should have become a lot stronger in the past few years. Lu Qi shook it a bit. Tingling arm. Getting stronger. It's not about strength that I got stronger. It doesn't seem like I'm going to use you to test the results of my hard work in the past 6 years. Enel clenched his fists and rattled. Lu Qi has not yet reached the peak state in the original book, although it is a bit tricky, but not to the extent that Enel can be afraid. If Enel wants to increase his power in human form, he needs to devour the life force of human beings to strengthen himself. He has seen little growth in this area over the past 6 years. There are no humans on Black Moon Island. He now only has one arm in the form of a dragon, which is similar to the strength of this state in the past. Where he really became stronger was the improvement of his combat skills and the substantial increase in his strength after dragon transformation. Asceticism. Lu Qi wondered, he felt like he had misunderstood something just now. Forget it, I'll just kill you anyway. The rest will be figured out later. Lu Qi took off his coat, revealing his muscular body. There are many scars on his back, shaped like the flag of the world government. Although it does not look particularly strong, no one can question the terrifying power contained in that slender body. He is like an elegant and vigorous leopard, cold and deadly. Well, it does look like a leopard. Super-like. Especially after activating the devil fruit ability. Lu Qi suddenly transformed into a half-beast form after feeling the power of Enel. Then use the moon step to jump into the air and take advantage of the attacking position. Razor. This is the moon step and shave to form a sharp track in the air. Rob Ludge is worthy of being the most outstanding genius in the history of CP9. He has mastered the use of 6 styles at a young age. Iron block. Enel still didn't know that he was being targeted by Lu Qi because of his cheap mouth, and he still used the fake 6 style. He is not a piece of iron at all, but just uses dragon scales to resist. But even if he knew it, he probably would still say that, since he was already suspected anyway, so he couldn't get rid of it. Fight to the end, who would be afraid? The power of Lu Qi's attack was greater than he imagined. The dragon scales shattered, a shallow wound appeared, and a small amount of blood spattered. Glancing at the wound on his chest, the red in Enel's eyes became a little richer. He himself can ignore the darkness surging in his chest and see his injury clearly. Lu Qi is very strong. I am afraid that he is a bit stronger than Flamia, who was defeated together with Doflamingo. It is not that you must be powerful if you have domineering, and the rest of the skills are not necessarily inferior to domineering. In the New World, any soldier will use domineering, but in a real fight, these soldiers who can use domineering are still inferior to supernovas who are not domineering. The same is true for Luigi and Flamia. The body of the two is similar, but in terms of skills, Lu Qi, who has mastered the 6 styles to the realm of perfection, is definitely much stronger than the half-hearted domineering of Flamia. However, Enel was no longer the kid who had teamed up with Doflamingo to defeat Flamia 6 years ago. Boom! Dark shrouded wings emerged from behind. Playing air combat. I won't lose. Enel rushed to the sky. Lu Qi's pupils shrank. The moon step is indeed a very practical technique. It is also very convenient to move at close range, but it is not as good as the devil fruit that originally has the ability to fly. It's really tricky. There's still flying. Lu Qi rushed to the ground. Originally, he wanted to use long-range attacks in the sky to test out more of Enel's tricks. But now the air combat is not good, so of course we can't continue to stay in the air. Just now, Enel had grown wings on his back, and apart from the fact that his face had not changed, he had already turned into a half-dragon. Lu Qi sensed that the other party's momentum was a little stronger, and his whole body exuded a dangerous atmosphere. I didn't enter this state just now, but I had such a terrifying power. Now it must be stronger and stronger. He will never be careless. It is always inconvenient to dodge in the air, so he wants to return to the ground. Dragon tail whip. Landfoot leopard tail. The 2 slashes collided in the air. Then bounce off each other. Comparable. Enel had the upper hand in sheer power, but in the end, skill was a lot worse. The destructive power shown is not much of an advantage. Finger guns and fire pulls. The two walked towards each other, and Lucci used a long-range attack before he made contact with Enel. Enel blocked it with his left arm. Dragon claws. Iron nuggets, empty wood. Uzu, the two groaned at the same time. Iron block, empty wood is Lucci's deeper application of iron block, using the anti-shock defense of iron block to counterattack. The stronger the opponent's attack, the greater the damage. But his iron block couldn't completely defend against Enel's attack, leaving 5 wounds on his chest. And Enel's elbow was also injured by the shock, showing an unnatural twist. It hurts to death, you leopard bastard. Enel forcibly straightened his elbow. He has always done this. There is no doctor on Heiui Island. If his arm is broken or something, then straighten it, and his self-healing ability will make him recover quickly. It really doesn't work. If the growth is misplaced, then cut off the arm and let it grow on its own. But the latter method takes a lot of time. In the beginning, he had to close his eyes, keep his teeth tight, and make a lot of determination to get Carter to help him do it. Now that he has been here for 6 years, he is almost used to enduring this kind of pain. In the battle of life and death, if you don't want to lose your life, then you have to endure any kind of pain. The enemy will not watch you cry and roll on the ground quietly. Once you reveal a flaw, then only die. Boom. Boom. The rubble splashed, and several houses were affected and cut in half. After these few confrontations, Lucci almost figured out Enel's style. Wild, rough, simple. Fight like a beast, relying on unparalleled strength and strong body defense. Skills are very poor, only able to dodge those slow and powerful tricks. The rest of the high-speed continuous attacks can basically hit the opponent. However, the trick of increasing the attack frequency by reducing the power is not very effective, and it cannot penetrate the steel-like body at all. Lucci once used the state of life return and paper-painted martial arts to reduce attack power and increase speed. But after entering that stance, it was easier to dodge Enel's attack. But the blow he caused to him also weakened. Even if the defense is broken, it can only cause some painless injuries. As expected of a guy who was offered a reward of 150 million Bailey when he was only 8 years old, it's really tricky. Lucci still looked flat, and his tone was unwavering. Chapter 186 Perception and Strength. Your attitude is not what you should be like when facing a tough enemy, Rob Ludge. Enel had a faint smile on his face. He is quite satisfied with his achievements in the past 6 years. Although he is far from Genis-level people like Luffy and Carter. But for a person whose talent is scum, it is not bad to raise his fighting awareness to the level that he can deal with a powerful enemy like Lucci. According to him 6 years ago, I am afraid that he can only be passively beaten. There was no room for a counterattack. You know me too much, and Khalifa too. Have you investigated our CP9? These should be secret. Logically speaking, it shouldn't be something that a pirate like you should know. Lucci stared at Enel. Have you stopped talking? Are you discouraged by the exposure of your plan, or are you angry? How did you get our information? And what are you planning in this water capital? You are also paying attention to that thing. Bar. It's been a leaked word. No wonder Lucci suddenly became so serious after talking about Khalifa. Too careless, it seems that we should pay more attention to these places in the future. There are many things that are very basic in the eyes of people who have read pirate comics, but for those who live here, it is a secret that is difficult to access. Even the CP9 organization, ordinary citizens thought it was just a rumor. This incident can be regarded as a lesson for Enel. Even if some things seem insignificant, they can't be said in front of these original characters. Fortunately, this time, it was only Rob Lucci, who was targeted by CP9. Although it was tricky, it wasn't so troublesome that he couldn't handle it. If you face the 3 generals and the 4 emperors in the future, if you take it lightly and arouse the killing intent of the other party, you may die. Enel realized his mistake and made desperate preparations. If possible, he would definitely kill Rob Ludge here, even at the cost of serious injury, because there is no way to explain it. Although killing Lucci will cause him to directly conflict with CP9, it is much better than the trouble of planning Pluto's blueprint that may affect the nerves of the world government. From Lucci's tone just now, Anil understood that the other party had regarded him as a careerist who was plotting ancient weapons. Then there is no room for reconciliation. It's really unpleasant. I originally came here with a relaxed and happy mood. However, I didn't expect to fight for life and death with a powerful enemy like you after staying in such a ghost place for so long. I said I have not investigated CP9. I only know about you by accident. Do you believe it? Do you think I might believe this kind of nonsense? We will never let evil get in on that thing. For the safety of the world, please obediently disappear. Lucci made an attacking posture again. HMPH, I really can't explain it. Well, that's right. I want to kill you here, too. The darkness continued to spread upward, covering Anil's head together. Behind him, a tail grew out and kept flapping. Anil forbade rushing towards Lucci. So fast. Lucci shaved past Enel's impact. Land feet. Enel turned his back to Lucci at this time, did not turn around in a hurry, just swiped with his tail, and the vacuum slash that hit was scattered. Land foot Kai bird. Lucci continued to make several attacks. Enel used dragon wings to protect him in front of him, and at the same time he used his armament to be domineering. Block these attacks unscathed. 6 Profound Truths 6 King's Spear. Lucci took advantage of Enel's dragon wings to block in front of him, and when he couldn't see him, he entered the form of a paper-painted martial arts body. Taking the opportunity to get close, he used his ultimate move. This is a profound meaning that can only be used by those who are proficient in the 6 forms, an attack that gathers power and releases it in the form of a shock. The power is comparable to that of a knockout shell. Enel had already noticed it when Lucci was approaching. Although he could not predict the opponent's movements very well, he was very clear about the location. But Lucci's movements were too fast, and he didn't have time to dodge. Enel was knocked out and crashed into a house. Boom! The huge impact seemed to explode. Houses were set up in ruins. Boom! A gust of wind swept all around with the ruins as the center. The air waves spread, and the gravel flew. Enel stood up from the ruins. There was a trace of blood on the corner of his mouth. Cough. Another blob of blood spit out. He had seen this level of attack before. When he was trying to snatch the thunder fruit on the Sky Island, Anilu had used the distiller's shell. At that time, Anilu broke his tail with a single blow, but now, with the armored defense, the injury was not serious. Lucci stood on the spot panting. He didn't pursue the victory. The move just now was a big burden for him. He has not yet fully mastered the 6 King's Spear, and if he uses it forcibly, he will also have a certain degree of reciprocal injury. It's such a tenacious vitality, you can actually stand up after taking this trick. Because Enel was shrouded in darkness, Lucci had no way of judging the opponent's injury, but he had confidence in his own tricks. This is his strongest trick, and it is impossible that it will not work at all. He guessed half right, the 6 King's Spear did work, but the damage to Enel was much less than he thought. Lucci's estimate of Enel's defense strength was a little off. After the face and tail vertebrae were all dragonized, Enel's dragonization has deepened a lot, and it is simply a humanoid dragon. Scale's defense has been improved, and at the same time, he has used the armament color domineering, so Lucci didn't get the expected result. But Lucci didn't know. In Enel's veiled state, he could only rely on his own feelings. Roughly judge the situation of the other party. On the other hand, Enel, under his special knowledge, could clearly feel that Lucci's vitality declined after he used the 6 King's Spear. This is an injury performance. Enel's sight was as if he was playing Monster Hunter, and opened a health bar display plugin. Compared with the vague perception of sound strength and weakness, his special ability is more intuitive and clear to detect changes in the enemy's physical condition. Enel already has a great advantage in information. If he does it properly, he might be able to kill Lu Qi here. I've seen this level of attack 6 years ago. The effect doesn't seem to be good for me. It's you, why didn't you continue to attack just now? It's a big burden, isn't it? How many times can you use it? Did you knock me down first, or did your body take it first? Cough. While speaking, Enel spat out another mouthful of blood. Chapter 187 Dragon and Cat. For the first time, the blood from the mouth of the ruins was really vomited. And this time he vomited blood, he pretended. He wants to show the appearance of being strong outside the world and doing it in the middle, so that Lu Qi feels that he has a chance to win. Then keep fighting with him. Enel didn't have an overwhelming strength advantage over Lu Qi, and he was unwilling to reveal his completely dragon-like appearance. In the absence of a gap in strength, if one party wants to escape, it will be difficult for the other party to keep him. Lu Qi is a spy, not a samurai. This time, I met Enel by chance, and I didn't receive any orders. Enel estimated that the other party would not have any idea of fighting to the death. If you find yourself unable to win, you will likely retreat. So Enel wanted to weaken Lu Qi as much as possible and cause him more injuries before Lu Qi had such thoughts. It's better to let him hurt to the point where he can't escape. HMPH, you're not ashamed to say it. Now, I'm afraid it's a problem for you to stand still. Lu Qi looked at the swaying Enel, and a sneer appeared. He released the state of the paper-painted martial arts. He judged that Enel was seriously injured, and even the speed in this state was enough. The next step is to strengthen the power of the attack and defeat Enel as soon as possible. Lu Qi also had the same concern, he was also worried that Enel would escape. Shave. Finger gun Huang Lian. Lu Qi approached Enel and launched a fierce attack. Kai Wing Shield. The latter used the wings as a shield to block in front of him. Razor. Dragon foot shaved. Enel concentrated his domineering power on his feet, and then kicked out a vacuum slash similar to Lan's feet. Roar. When approaching, Rob Ludge suddenly turned into a leopard, bit Enel's body, and then threw him around like a dog biting his slippers. The huge bite force shattered the scales, and the sharp teeth were embedded in the flesh. Severe pain came out of the abdomen. Enel wrapped his tail around the leopard's head, and his claws slapped Luigi's head fiercely. Iron. Lu Qi used the iron block, plus the bonus of the animal shape, and the hardness of the skull. Hardly resisted the blow. Enel's claws broke and fell to the ground, dissipating as a ray of darkness. There was blood on Lu Qi's head, and Enel's finger had already pierced a little. Ignoring the broken finger, he wanted to pierce Lu Qi's head like this. A rattle sounded. Lu Qi felt a splitting headache, and he knew his own physical condition very well after mastering the return of his life. Enel's claws were about to pierce his skull. He came into contact with a fully beastly form. The largest wheel of the six-type profound truth, the Six Kings Spear. Boom. The strong impact directly hit Enel's chest, and the violent shock caused a lot of blow to his internal organs. His chest was sunken, and his ribs were broken. The dragon's tail let go weakly, and Enel flew out backwards. Collapsed a lot of houses. Lu Qi touched the 5 wounds on his head with lingering fears. When he first came into contact with the complete beast, the hardness of his body dropped a little. He was almost smashed into the brain and died in Wangquan. Enel wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and stood up quickly. Lu Qi was already resigned. The Six Kings Spear, which was just used, caused some strain on the muscles on his arm, and his combat power declined again. He also noticed something was wrong with Enel. He had already been attacked many times by him, but there was still no sign of any decrease in his combat power. The pressure he felt during the battle was mounting. I seem to underestimate the opponent's defense. Perhaps, the opponent's injury is not that serious at all. As a spy, he certainly has no shortage of vigilance. Don't simply believe something on the surface. He entered the state of paper-painted martial arts again, and took the initiative to distance himself. In this state, he is faster and easier to escape. Che tilde have you been discovered? Lu Chi, do you want to escape? Enel kicked the stone in the way. Lu Chi hates arrogant people, and he certainly doesn't have that characteristic himself. When he realizes that he is not Enel's opponent, he will not fight recklessly. Now I have to split life and death with Enel, not brave, but brainless. The more important thing is to bring the intelligence back. He is not alone, behind him are CP9 and the whole world government. There is no need to be brave. Hey, coward, don't be a coward, we'll come next. Can't we just hold on for so long? Enel provoked. Lu Chi stepped back a distance, and he had just seen Enel's straight-line dash speed. It is no less than shave, that is, it cannot be turned. If he was accidentally entangled again, it would be a very bad situation for him. A temporary retreat is not cowardice. If the sacrifice is meaningful, then I will not hesitate to give my life. But I will not die for no reason. It is just a waste of strength to maintain justice. Lu Chi was outspoken and did not hide his intention to escape. Hey, you think what is justice? What is evil? Justice and evil are never fixed. It's down to this level. Am I going to let you go like this? The injury on your leg, is it okay? I can fly. Can you still escape? Enel just consciously attacked Lu Chi's leg. Although it is not heavy, if the leg technique is used with high load for a long time, then this disadvantage will be infinitely magnified. Lu Chi's face suddenly turned ugly. Have you already calculated it? Even in this unfavorable situation where his life might be lost, Lu Chi's tone was still flat. I didn't pay attention to this little injury on the leg during the battle just now, but now, it has become his life reminder. Carter had just finished eating and was lying on a roof basking in the sun, feeling his chubby belly. Roy sat on its belly with a book in his hand. It loves to learn. Inextricable. Carter had always wondered why Roy liked this kind of thing. However, that doesn't matter. It's good to be happy. Roy was happy, and Carter was happy too. Suddenly, Carter's expression changed, and the cat's face was full of seriousness. Immediately, he sat up from the ground. Roy was caught off guard and fell. Oh, it hurts. Hey, John Mao, what the hell are you doing? Roy scratched his head. Carter didn't apologize as he usually rubbed his head, but instead put all the books on the side into the backpack space, and then put Roy on his back. Hurry up, don't fall, Carter reminded. Ah, what? Roy still didn't know why. Then he was moved by a gust of wind, and quickly fell on Carter's back, clutching his long hair tightly. What's the matter? What happened? YC has a fight with others. I have to hurry over. My opponent is very strong. Chapter 188 CP9. Carter did not rush directly to the battlefield, but ran towards the shipyard of the Carrera Shipbuilding Company. Before a battle is lost, Carter has also learned Aenir's caution. The first thought is to retreat. If you really can't win, then you have to be prepared to run away. Carter galloped all the way, raising a large cloud of smoke and dust. Then slam on the brakes in front of the iceberg. Iceberg looked at the fat cat who was almost rolling over and asked, "What's wrong?" Meow. Is the ship ready? Roy translated. The external components are basically complete, but the internal facilities are still. Meow. It doesn't matter, as long as you can sail, you need it now, hurry up. Where is your storage room? Said Roy. Carter put away the boat, left a sum of gold, and dashed towards the battlefield between Enel and Luigi. That iceberg wanted to say something, but Carter had disappeared without a trace. He scratched his head. Really, this gold, it should be worth $1 billion. Forget it, they left it anyway, so let's use it. Vomit. Lu Chi was vomiting blood and panting. This is the end, Your Justice, it seems that there is no way to proceed. Enel rushed towards him. No, it's you who failed. The corner of Lu Chi's mouth curled up. Lanjiao. A wind blade suddenly burst from the side. What? Enel was startled and blocked it with his left hand. Lu Chi took the opportunity to approach Enel. Justice, it's not just me. The largest wheel of the six-type profound truth, the Six Kings Spear. Boom. Anal was kicked out like a ball, bounced on the ground several times, and then turned around to stop his retreat. Strange cat, you look so embarrassed, said a man with two usual whiskers above his lips and a scorpion tail. Evil dog, you guys are really slow. Now is not the time to mock me. Wolito also knows the occasion. Go back and I'll teach you a lesson. Lucci glanced at him. Ha, if you can, try it out. I've seen you upset for a long time. A bad dog is a bad dog. Not only does he have an idiot face, but his brain is also an idiot head. What did you say? Weird cat. Okay, now is not the time to quarrel. The guy on the opposite side is the opponent we have to face. Bruno persuaded. Anal stared solemnly at the three people in front of him. Just one Lucci was enough for him. At this time, Gabra's strength should be higher than Kaku, not inferior to Lucci, plus a Bruno who has the ability of door fruit. The tide turned completely, and now he was at a disadvantage. CP9, you're lucky. Rob Lucci saved his life. Enel had already sensed Carter rushing towards him and was about to retreat. Am I letting you go? Evil, must be punished. Landfoot Kai Bird. Lucci Shang entangled Enel. Kai Winged Shield. I have no need to continue conflict with you, so goodbye. Or do you want to go to the sea with me to fight in the air? Anal flapped his wings and flew towards the sea. Lucci didn't go after him, and quietly looked at the direction he was leaving, with a cold expression and a strong killing intent. HMPH, I really thought we could fly and we couldn't help you. Gabe stepped on the air and wanted to chase after him with a moon step. Lucci stopped him. Don't chase, air combat is not good for us. Huh, weird cat, aren't you afraid? He mocked. If you want to die, I won't stop you. I will report to the top that you fought bravely and died unfortunately. Lucci released his transformation, found his clothes, and put them on. Goo goo. The pigeon Hadley flew back with Luigi's black hat in his mouth. Cut tilde, Gabra spat, and also released the transformation. Although he was unhappy with Lucci, he still agreed with his strength. Even Lucci was beaten like this by Enel, so if he chased after him alone, there would be no good fruit to eat. Go back and report this matter. That pirate, it is a very dangerous evil. Lucci put on his hat. Enel and Carter meet on the sea. Ahahaha, this time, it seems to be troublesome. Enel laughed. Carter asked, why sea, are those guys strong? Well, it's very strong, but if it's just them, it's not a big trouble. The trouble is that they seem to have misunderstood something. The world government may have to pay more attention to us. Oh tilde, is that so? Carter didn't care. It only knows that the world government is the ruling institution of mankind, and there is no intuitive concept. It's just a cat anyway. If Enel and Carter joined forces just now, it would not be a problem to overthrow Luigi and Gabra, but there was a troublesome Bruno. Although his strength is not very good, if he really fights Enel, it is estimated that he will not last for 10 minutes, but the fruit of the door is a magic skill. Enel probably couldn't kill them. Since it can't be killed, there is no need to fight. Fighting is a means, not an end. If you can't bring benefits or eliminate threats, then it's not worth fighting a strong enemy to the death. Enel is not a violent man who likes to fight. He is a pacifist. At least he thought so. Don't think about those troubles, let the boat go straight to the bridge. Is this our new boat? Enel touched the railing. A disciple of Tom, the world's first shipbuilder. Enel suddenly remembered the red-haired girl she met on the Sky Island. The genius who can restore the Proverbs drawings to perfection. Don't know who is better at their technology. Ah! The stream of fire above the Sky Island sneezed. Liuhuo, what's wrong? It's windy, be careful not to catch a cold. Behind her, Milo, who was covered in greenery, came over. It's all right, I'm not going to get sick. Ryahuo wiped the snot from his nose with his hands, then rubbed it a few times on Milo's shoulder. Hey bastard, don't rub it on me. Ah, don't mind. Luhuo wiped his nose again. Milo quickly took a few steps back. She wiped it directly on her clothes. Milo. The flaming clothes are already horrible to see, and they are covered with all kinds of messy things. Ice cream, ketchup, sawdust, spray paint. Now there is a white sticky substance. How long has it been since you changed your clothes? Milo said helplessly. Speaking of which, my clothes really need to be changed. I've been busy collecting thundercloud these days and haven't taken a shower. Lu Huo took off his clothes and threw them aside. Chapter 189 Black Flash, White Thunder. Milo's face turned red, and he could clearly see Lu Huo's fair skin like goat's milk. And the slight bulge in the chest. What to do in this situation? Back. Or look a few more times. So confusing. Milo decided to compromise, and looked back a few more times. And then so small. Wait, that's the wrong size. Lu Huo didn't care about Milo's gaze, wrapped a white cloth around his chest, and then put a blue and white t-shirt on his body. Next, tuck the 2 shells into the chest. This is to deal with the possible battle at any time, and she keeps the shells in a place where it can be easily reached. Are you sure it doesn't mean anything else? Milo has come to the truth, and he has solved the mystery of the changes in Lu Huo's body curve over the past 6 years. He suddenly remembered that he seemed to have decided to take a few glances and turned away just now, so he turned around. Is it too late for this turn? It's really too troublesome to take a shower. Anyway, it won't take long to get dirty again, so don't wash it at all. Lu Huo pouted. This reason is very strong. Take it. She threw the 2 pistols to Milo. Oh, is it done? It's so timely. Milo took the pistol and scrutinized it. The 2 pistols, one black and one white, are the same size. There are light blue mysterious lines on the gun body, as if lightning is flowing. There are 3 jade-like patterns on the handle of the gun. This is made from thunder drum. They recently discovered the thunder drum used by Enlil in the original book in the Treasure House of God. It is said that it is a transformation. In fact, there is not much technical content at all. It's been done a long time ago. It's just to remove the shell inside the thunder drum and put it in the gun. Lu Huo said lightly. Shells? Milo wondered. Is there such seashells? Having spent 6 years in Pika, he has also learned about most shell species, but he has never heard of shells that can store lightning. Otherwise, he would have sent people to collect them and make a blue medicine bottle for himself. That's right, it's a shell. This is a species of shell that has been extinct since ancient times. Thundercloud shell. It can store thunderclouds in it. I didn't spend much time transforming them into guns. What wasted time was putting thunderclouds. Collect them and put them in. The power of the thundercloud will be used up, but you can charge it. You can usually store the thunderbolt in it and use it in battle to save your stamina. Liu Huo introduced the 2 special pistols. Usage. Milo injected the lightning, and it took 20% of his stamina to fill a gun. That is to say, with the aid of these 2 guns, he is equivalent to 40% more MP. Milo couldn't put it down, like a child who just got a new toy. Names, what are the names of these 2 guns? He asked. Name, what's the name of this thing? Whatever you like, Lu Huo said casually. It's made by you, and you should name it. Well, Lu Huo held his chin and thought for a while, then call it Black Flash and White Thunder. The white ones are Black Flash, and the black ones are White Thunder, she added. It fits perfectly, without the slightest sense of inconsistency. Very good, Liu Huo, you organize the magic soldiers to prepare for the evacuation. Milo said. What? Evacuate? Are you leaving Bika? Are those men in black strong? Lu Huo bit a lollipop. They are just a group of miscellaneous soldiers, nothing to worry about. So I'm just talking about preparation. However, I'm afraid there will be monsters like natural disasters coming soon. We have to make plans early. A natural disaster. Thunder. Because of her special position, Bika has hardly encountered natural disasters in her long years. Volcanoes, storms, tsunamis, none of them. In Lu Huo's cognition, lightning is probably the most terrifying force. No, although it can't be thunder and lightning, but in Qinghai, there are many disasters that can be compared to thunderstorms. And among the opponents we are about to face, there are likely to be existences that can drive that terrible power. Milo's face was solemn. Ga ga. A strange black bird flew down from the sky. Pale head, with a circle of red feathers around his neck, like a messenger of death. It stopped in front of Milo, and a man jumped off the bird's back. God, the attack of those men in black has stopped. But it doesn't seem like they will give up. It should be some kind of conspiracy brewing. Shira said. Don't worry, there's no conspiracy. They're just waiting. Milo glanced from time to time and heard some news. Wait. Yes, wait. They are waiting for reinforcements. God, with all due respect, why keep them? You should punish all those stupid people who don't know how to fear gods. Otherwise, how can you show the majesty of gods? Even if you don't take action, we can kill them all. Ahahaha Sura, you can indeed kill this group of people. But after killing them, there will be people who will come over. They are not a threat, keep them, but can eavesdrop on the voice and know the next step of the world government. Action. Don't think about killing, but thinking about the pros and cons of doing so. World government. What kind of organization is it? It makes you so afraid. Lu Huo asked. A huge organization that rules Qinghai and has more than 170 affiliated countries. I don't know how it is, but it's strong. Milo is also not very clear about the various forces in the world. The information he knew was basically memorized from chatting with Enel in the past. He was so afraid because when he was chased and killed by Garp, the terrifying aura made him tremble with fear. There are still very deep impressions. 3 days later, Milo had already filled Black Flash and Bai Lei with energy. In every gun, there is almost a complete version of Lei Ying's power. He can mobilize the thunder and lightning in the gun at will. As long as he is willing, he can instantly exhaust the energy in it and hit a thunderous welcome. Sitting in a chair and closing his eyes, Milo suddenly opened his eyes. Hey, come on, is this the highest combat power of the world government even now? That guy's voice still makes me feel like trembling all over. On a deserted island, a group of black-clothed agents were neatly lined up on both sides, standing straight like a pine tree. A man in a yellow line clothes and a gray cowboy hat stepped down from a huge white airship. He was tall, more than 3 meters tall, and the justice coat on his back undulated in the wind. Chapter 190 Yellow Monkey. Everyone who sees him probably will not forget his unique appearance, which is wretched like a monkey. Lazy tone, as if he hadn't woken up. However, no one dared to underestimate his strength. In that body, there is a terrifying power that can easily destroy an island. Even those monsters who came to the New World were afraid of his abilities. The highest combat power of the world government, one of the 3 generals of the Navy headquarters, and a person with the ability to shine the fruit of nature, Kazuna, Pulsolino. You are finally here, General Pulsolino. The men in black who came to greet him gave a collective salute to show their respect. It doesn't have to be so grand, I'm just here to complete the task. Pulsolino said in a laid-back tone. How's it going? Tell me about it. A researcher from the world government who came to Bika by accident discovered that there is a trace element in the plants here. This trace element seems to promote the growth of animals and make them larger. So after going back, I reported it to the top. Double Bunker was very interested in this, and this substance was involved in one of his recent experiments, so he sent someone to procure it. This plant is also a very precious ornamental plant on Bika. The officials who came here to purchase and the local Bika people did not agree on the price, and there was a conflict. Several people were injured. Then the divine soldiers arrived and killed the government officials. Then it evolved into a war between Bika and the CP department. These espionage agencies, apart from CP0, which leads all espionage organizations, and CP9, which has special permission to kill, do not have much combat power. They are active in the underground world and behind the shadows of the enemy. Assassination, spying on intelligence and so on are what they are good at. But that's not the case in frontal combat. Although Milo took over Bika, he didn't care much at all. Divine soldiers or something, if they die, they will die, he doesn't care. Been watching the show all the time. The government was at a disadvantage and turned to the top for help. The yellow monkey, who was cooperating with the double bunker experiment, was sent to run to suppress these mobs. Those bastards, they are so ignorant, and they are so mad that they don't know the world government. They killed a lot of us. Lord Polsolino, you must show them a good look. The government official in charge of procurement outraged. Kazuna glanced at him with his wretched eyes, and then said, I remember that you should have sufficient procurement funds allocated to you. Are you sure you have seriously discussed the price with them? He hesitated and didn't dare to look directly at Kizaru, his eyes fluttering. Isn't it possible that you were greedy for ink? Huang Yuan knew what happened at a glance. It must be these guys who want to embezzle a little more money and then force the price down in the name of the government, which is almost no different from robbery. If it were an ordinary Qinghai kingdom, it might be afraid of the power of the government and endure it. And the Bika people don't know what the term world government stands for. In the sky, government influence is low. Forget it, don't be so nervous. I can't control these. My mission is to defeat the opponent and help you gain control of this place. Kizaru didn't come here to seek justice. The opponent is not a pirate, but a group of soldiers who protect their own national interests. In essence, this is a war of aggression launched by the world government for resources. In Qinghai, there may be some scruples because of the law and the attitudes of other countries, but here is a 10,000-meter high altitude where news is blocked. No matter what happens, the world will never know. Then, there is no need for superficial warmth. Since the other party is unwilling to trade, then directly use force, using dripping blood and the most primitive law of the jungle, to let the other party understand the fate of defying the world government. To put it bluntly, the Navy is actually a violent institution for the world government to maintain its rule, and not everyone in it has a firm heart of justice. Sleek and sophisticated, and the attitude has always been ambiguous, it is still unknown how much justice he has in his heart. On the sea of clouds 50 kilometers away from the empty island, a wooden boat without sails undulates with the waves. God, are we running away like this? Isn't this too shameless? Shira asked loudly. Ha 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 ha, it's really a bit of a shame, but living is the most important thing. However, I feel uncomfortable just handing over Bika Island like this. Give them a small gift. Huh. Lightning flashed from Milo's body. His whole body glowed blue, the thunder rolled, his body became brighter and brighter, and finally turned blue and white. He took out black flash, and white thunder, and fired the power inside them all at once. Lei Ying. Dark clouds rolled over and enveloped the entire Bika. The turbulent thunder gathered inside, and endless currents shot out, as if dragons and snakes were dancing. Boom! Boom! The deafening sound echoed in the sky, as if the end was coming. Huh! Kizaru raised his head and stared at the sky. He noticed the mighty power contained in it. That mighty force that seems to be able to destroy everything. Is the weather here often so bad? His tone is still lazy, because although the power of thunder and lightning is strong, attacks without domineering will not work for him in the nature department. The government official who was with him looked at the sky, and he realized that the sky was unknowingly covered by thunderclouds. Ah, what the hell kind of weather is this? I haven't encountered such a situation a few days ago, and I can't even see a cloud in the sky. First he was puzzled, then he opened his mouth and looked terrified. A huge sphere has condensed, like a black sun. Razor danced on the sphere, flashing dazzling thunder from time to time. The thunderball sank slowly. Fear and panic have spread. The entire Bika fell into chaos. People cried and prayed hysterically, only to watch the death gradually come. God save us. How could this be? I don't want to die. Despair overwhelms everything. No one escaped, it was too late. Lei Ying's speed seems slow, but in fact it is very fast. That's just an illusion created by its huge size. If you can't keep it, then destroy it. In short, it must not be cheap to the enemy. Milo had already decided to make Bika disappear from this world the moment Kizaru arrived. As for the citizens there, they are unlucky. Milo doesn't care, he's a pirate, not a king. Kizaru stared at the falling thunder with wide eyes. He did not expect that the other party would actually do this, here, but their country, their homeland. To be able to be so decisive, so ruthless. Destroy the tens of thousands of Bika people, along with the entire island. Chapter 191 Lei Ying. This Lei Ying was made by Milo when he used up the thunder and lightning in the double thunder guns and consumed a huge amount of his own physical strength. Lei Ying didn't pose much threat to Pelusalino, but the attack area was too wide. It is almost impossible to completely block it. All he can do now is to protect the airship he is riding on. The dazzling rays of light burst out, like a small sun, in this dark world shrouded in thunderclouds, dazzling. Sharp beams radiate in all directions. Bachi Changgu Yu. Lei Ying was knocked off a corner. Boom. The accumulated thunder and lightning finally erupted, and a huge impact swept across the four directions. Heaven and earth are quiet, and all horses are in harmony. A big hole was opened in the vast sea of clouds, and the ocean below could be seen. Bika disappeared, along with the people above. The only ones who survived were Kizaru and the accompanying government personnel hiding behind him. A sailor sat slumped on the ground, staring in disbelief at the huge void in the sea of clouds in front of him. There is the joy of the rest of your life, the days of the failure of the mission, and the faint sense of unreality. Is this dreaming? Is this kind of power really something that human beings can possess? He was a little scared again. It turned out that there were such terrifying characters on this inconspicuous island. I'm even more fortunate that my side has an admiral from the Navy headquarters. Otherwise they will be wiped out. It's terrifying. It's been put together. Porosalino's lazy tone seemed to be ridiculing, and there was no change in the slightest. Mission failed. He glanced at the side with the color of knowledge, but did not find the figure of the enemy. The opponent's strength is very strong, but it did not appear in front of his eyes. Are you afraid? Not too possible. With such power, it is absolutely impossible to be a coward. And the destructive power of the blow just now also showed that the opponent's strength was not much worse than him. He overestimated Milo's strength, which was an attack with props. Maybe Milo can match the grand prize in the future, but now he is still too young. Or don't want to reveal your identity. Porosalino frowned, thinking about the faceless god's intentions. According to his estimation, if that god confronted him head-on, he would probably retreat. Why just destroy the entire island? If he didn't choose to pursue, he didn't know the direction of the enemy at all. I don't know the exact strength of the opponent. The only information is that the other party has a very high sense of domineering, and the power that seems to be able to manipulate lightning. He is a person who hates trouble and will not take the initiative to make himself uncomfortable. He originally came here with a leisurely attitude on vacation. In his view, it was an easy task to clean up the natives on a remote island. Pelusalino has been a very romantic person since he was a child. He enjoys life, and he is best at taking time off from work. But I didn't expect to encounter such trouble. Now that Bika is gone, the research materials they need are gone. Then there is no need for another conflict. Want to completely obliterate the other party to avoid future troubles. This is unrealistic, at least the yellow monkey is not that sure. Moreover, for these materials, it is not cost-effective to provoke a powerhouse who is suspected of being a general. The Navy has enough enemies. If they had known that there was such a person here, they would never have chosen to use force. Glancing coldly at the government official in charge of procurement, he walked straight to the airship. Seeing a quiver in Kasaragi's eyes, the man felt like he was in an ice cellar. He was beaten back from heaven to hell. Even if he survived the shock just now, what awaits him is a just trial. With such a big basket, there is almost no possibility of survival. K is expected of the Admiral, are you unscathed? I really look forward to the day when I will face you head to head. Milo has been watching the Navy. Before leaving, Pulsolino suddenly glanced in Milo's direction, and then shot a beam of light. Huh. Light waves flew away from Milo's boat. Although he didn't know his exact location, but Milo had been spying on him so blatantly for so long, Kizaru could still guess the general direction. This is a warning. Milo understood what he meant. Huh. Thunder emerged from his arm. He is also a restless master, knowing that he can't beat the generals, but it's okay to be disgusting. With the speed of thunder and lightning, coupled with his super-wide range of sight and domineering, and his long-range attacks beyond the line of sight, basically no one can counter him with kite-flying tactics. Suddenly came to ask for trouble, and now you still use this attitude. Do you really think I am easy to bully? Is the general very arrogant? The general seems to be really good. Well, I don't dare to do it from the front, and clear the miscellaneous soldiers from a distance. This voice is so obscene, it's a little uncomfortable not to hit a few times. Lay. A sturdy lightning bolt suddenly fell from the sky, splitting a hole where Kyabu was standing. General Pulsolino. Although he knew that the general would not be defeated so easily, the Navy soldiers on the side couldn't help shouting when they saw this attack like a mighty heaven. Huh. Countless rays of light condensed and finally formed the form of a person. It's so scary. Huang Yuan felt helpless and warned, which seemed to have the opposite effect. Hey, that little brother called God, you should be listening now. How about we stop here? I'm not the one who destroyed the whole island. I'm just here on vacation. Kizaru raised his palms to the sides of his head in advance, signaling that he was not ready to fight again. Huh. The thunder and lightning on Milo disappeared, and it would not benefit him to die, and he was not someone who didn't know what to do. Kizaru left in the airship he came in. The black technology of double bunker is really not built, and he can come up with all kinds of weird things. It is really not difficult for him to have an airship. Milo looked at Black Flash and White Thunder, and then said to Lu Huo, Huo, help me repair the gun, it's broken. Lu Huo took the double thunder gun and looked at it. It's good, it's not bad. But I can't charge it. Idiot, why did you shoot out Leian? Didn't I remind you that you only need to mobilize the energy inside? This is the Leian that I have worked so hard to collect for a month. But I can't quickly extract all the energy in it. I want to give that guy a ruthless release, so I can only let out the cloud together. Huo, help me get it right. I don't have time, you can collect it yourself. Lu Huo digs his booger. Milo learned to be obedient and took a few steps back. The stream of fire wiped the hand on Shadley's clothes next to him. Booger, Shadley screamed. Bastard, what do you want to do? What's the big deal? You're stingy. Lu Huo looked at him with contempt. You want to fight? His two younger brothers hurriedly hugged him. Brother, calm down. Don't stop me, I'm going to kill her. You are too presumptuous. This is the imperial front of the gods, said the god soldier Zhang Shan. Chapter 192 Roy Carter is studying. Wow, I lived up to the heavy trust and completed the task given by the 5 old stars. This uncle has finally been promoted. Next, I will wait for Lucci and the others to come back and turn over the Murloc's nest, and the blueprint of Hades will be I can get it. At that time, this will become the strongest force in the world government, and I will also become a hero. I will be the terminator of this era of great pirates. Ha. Cheer, rejoice, the people of the world tormented by pirates. Praise your savior, Spandam. On Judiciary Island, a man with bandages on his face, leaning on crutches, and bandages on his feet and body laughed loudly. Spandam was supposed to be in the hospital recovering from the injury he was hit by Cotty Fram. But as soon as he received his promotion appointment, he climbed down from the hospital bed excitedly, ignoring the pain. He went from the commander of CP5 to the commander of CP9. Although it is also an espionage agency, the rights and force of CP9 far exceed those of CP5, and it has also obtained special permission to kill. This makes things more convenient. He seemed to see a bright future for himself. Beauty, money, status, and glory are all in your pocket. Spandam fantasized, completely unaware that the coffee in his hand had spilled out. Chapapa, sir, aren't you hot? The owl, who was as plump as Carter, looked at Spandam's steaming right hand. Huh, it's hot, it's killing me. Spandam fell backwards and fell to the ground. The leg that had been fractured cracked again. It hurts to death. He burst into tears. Don't hurry up and help me. Yo-yo, yes, I'm sorry, sir, it's all my fault. Okay, sir, I'm sorry. A man with long pink hair said in a very weird tone. As of now, I can only cut my belly to apologize. As he spoke, he took out a short knife and stabbed himself in the abdomen. Iron. Boom. The tip of the knife stabbed in the abdomen, making a sound like metal colliding. The square-nosed Kaku complained, "It's so insincere. It's a pity. I can't die. My mother's spirit in the sky must be protecting me. The night wind blows, the moon shines, the grass is bleak, the winter snow is covered," Facebook said inexplicable words. Seeing that no one was willing to help him, Spandam had no choice but to name him. "Khalifa, give me a hand." How rude, you are sexual harassment. Khalifa pushed the frame of her glasses. What kind of sexual harassment is this? I just asked you to help me. In the end, it was Kaku who saw that Spandam was arrogant and shouted, and went over to help him. Chapapaluchi and the others may not be able to find it. Maybe the blueprint is no longer in Tom's house. Owl struck. Damn it. That bastard Murloc is so ignorant. If he is willing to cooperate, how can I spend so much effort? I must show him a good look. Spandam was furious. Chapapa, he died yesterday due to torture. Sir, you don't have a chance, said the owl. HMPH, he's dead. Count him lucky. Wait, you said he's dead. Spandam reacted, holding his head and screaming. Oops. The whereabouts of the blueprints have not been found out. Why did the interrogators kill him? If Luki and the others didn't find the blueprints, how would I explain to the 5 old stars? The door of the conference hall was suddenly opened, and Luci, Gabra, and Bruno walked in. Oh Luigi, you're back. Did you find the blueprint? Spandam asked impatiently. No, Luci returned simply and clearly. Wow, ha ha ha, I found it. Spandam's delusion was a little bit in his eyes. The rest of the people looked at him with idiot-looking eyes. He is indeed an idiot. What? Didn't find it? How did you do? You can't even do this little thing. He slapped the table and sent the kettle over. It's hot. Kaku saw the wound on Luci's body and asked, Luci, are you injured? The rest of the people also looked over. They knew how strong Luci was, but he was injured just by performing such a simple task. When he encounters a strong pirate, he is likely to have his eye on Hades too. Luci explained the fact that Enel knew the information of their CP9 and his own judgment. Did he really investigate us because of the Hades blueprint? What a terrible intelligence network that must be. Kaku mused. The Pluto blueprint was handed over to Spandam by the 5 old stars. He was originally the commander of CP5, and it didn't take long for him to be transferred to CP9. If Enel can really find out their information in such a short period of time, the efficiency can only be described as horror. How do you think that pirates are unlikely to have such an efficient intelligence network? So is someone betrayed? Everyone looked at Spandam in unison. Then he shook his head again. He was so passionate about Pluto, he would not be confused in this regard. Seeing everyone looking at him, Spandam turned his head blankly, not knowing why. But there was one sentence he understood, and that was the judgment that Enel might also be paying attention to Hades. Damn pirates. Such dangerous things must never fall into the hands of pirates. I have to report to the top. and then let the Navy send people to assist us. Spandam's eyes were burning with anger. Pluto is his road to promotion. Absolutely no surprises. Whoever moves will die. The boat made by the iceberg is very good. In addition to the 2 bedrooms and bathroom, there is a study. The layout is reasonable, and although small, it doesn't feel cramped. Enel walked in and saw the bookshelves full of books. Roy was standing on Carter's head picking. Hey, it's really easy to learn. Did you all buy this when you were shopping? Carter nodded. Since Roy likes reading so much, it can't be left behind. Books are human beings know a ladder for cat people's progress. It wants to be a cat with knowledge and culture. At least when Roy is talking to it, it should be able to chat. Carter also has a magazine in his hand. Enel pulled out a book at random. Open. There are few words. There are only a few, and a large picture occupies the entire page. This picture is exciting. A plump, graceful woman, dressed very thinly, her body looming under the white gauze underwear. There is a hazy beauty. Enel touched his nose. Then flipped through other books, all of the same type. Roy had bought a bunch of lingerie magazines. No wonder it can read with relish. But why have you been dear studying this? And Carter, why are you addicted? What the hell are you two learning? Chapter 193 To the Chambord Islands. After Enel left the Seven Waters, he followed the pointer with all his strength, heading towards the Mermaid Island. Doflamingo had promised to wait for him in the Chambord Islands for 3 weeks, and he had to hurry up. There are 15 devil fruits in him, which can bring a lot of improvement to Enel's strength. Standing majestically on the Red Earth continent, this huge land is like the giant snake Yemengard that surrounds the world in myths and legends, dividing the whole world into 2 halves. When he saw this majestic and towering land again, Enel couldn't help but admire in his heart. Under that kind of natural might, it really makes people feel small. It's so big. Is this the clay continent? It's amazing, Roy admired. When we entered the Great Waterway before, we went there. At that time, we went to such a high place in a boat. We also met a big whale. Carter showed his rich experience in front of Roy. Ah, really? You are amazing, John Mao. Enel transformed into the form of a giant dragon, entwined with shadows, like a big bird composed entirely of elements. Whether it is a dragon or such a strange bird, it is not a human species. Carter put away the sailboat and sat on Enel's back, while Roy sat on Carter's head. They fly into the sky. The Chambord archipelago is not a normal island, but a collection of trees. This is actually the largest mangrove forest in the world. An island of 79 giant mangrove trees. Chambord is not magnetic. Therefore, there is no permanent pointer or something, and Enel doesn't know the direction of progress before he comes to the red soil continent. He is not as lucky as Luffy and the others. Every time he doesn't know how to go, he always happens to meet someone who can be their guide. Enel could only fend for himself, fly up to the sky and go around a few times to see if he can find it. Enel has a wide range of perception and color perception, which is very convenient for finding people. Rao is so. He also found a merchant ship after flying for a few hours. As Enel flew to the ship, the siren sounded, and a group of people with guns surrounded him. Who? Don't be careless, this guy is an ability person. I just saw him change from a strange bird to a human being with my own eyes. Don't be so nervous, I'm just a lost traveler, I want to ask the direction of the Chambord Islands. Enel asked. Ha ha ha, what is this little brother doing alone in the Chambord Islands? It's not safe there. Do you want us to take you for a ride? It just so happens that we're going there too. A man who looked like a leader stood up. He was barricaded, dressed in a gray coat and had a scar on his forehead, and he was not a serious businessman by any means. No, just tell me the directions, I'm in a hurry. Don't be so vulgar, come in first and have a few drinks. It's fate to meet, and we're having a banquet. He walked over and put his arms around Enel's shoulders. A sinister smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, successful. He stabbed Anil with a dagger. Those who are capable will be powerless when they touch the seafloor stone, which is common sense in the Great Waterway. Seeing that Anil was capable, he immediately made the decision to attack. Anil is very sensitive to things that can threaten him, especially the breath of Halushi, which he had already noticed when he approached him. With a flash of cold light, the leader of the merchant ship's arm was cut off. Ah! He rolled on the ground clutching his arms. Damn it, kill him. I don't have time to chat with you. An invisible impact radiates in all directions. Except for the leader, everyone fell to the ground. This is what? Don't come here. I'm a person who serves St. Charles Rose, and this ship is loaded with dragon people's goods. Don't mess around. He stepped back in horror. Oh Tilda, it turns out that you are a subordinate of the Tianlong people. You are really a big man. I'm disrespectful. Who said I'm going to mess up? I just want to ask for a way. The Chambord Islands, in which direction? Now that you know my identity, then obediently apologize, you bastard. He didn't hear the irony in Enel's words, and he felt that he had some confidence to rely on. Meow, Carter sighed, this guy is so stupid, he can't be saved. Neil stepped on his leg again. You show me the situation, and I ask you how to get to the Chambord Islands. For the last time, I will kill you if you talk nonsense. Over there, go straight in that direction. He screamed and pointed in one direction. Wait for me, Lord Charles Rose will not let you go. He wailed in embarrassment. Anil paused, he was about to leave. Not really interested in a small role. Won't let me go. Anil slapped his backhand. Smash his head off. Darkness engulfed the entire crew. Anil walked into the cabin. Since he said that this was for the Tianlong people, there should be some good things. Of course, he should take it away and not waste it. However, to his disappointment, this is a slave trader, and this ship transports goods, all living people. There's no such thing as a devil fruit that Anil wanted. Just now, the leader of the group attacked Anil and wanted to capture him and sell him as a slave. The dark cabin was full of depression. It was eerily like a haunted house. There are many bloodstains on the board, probably left by those disobedient slaves. Depressed people were locked in cages, curled up like dogs. The cage is so small that it cannot be stretched out at all. The living conditions of the slaves were terrible, and the traffickers compressed their living spaces in order to obtain greater profits. In such a harsh environment, people often die because of this. There is a large cage on the side with plenty of space, and there are 3 mermaid girls in it. The upper body of a person, the lower body of a fish, and the glamorous face is less haggard. Presumably this is the cargo to be delivered to the Tianlong people. Tisk tisk, that's really pitiful. Of course, Enel's attitude towards these unfortunate bastards is kill them all. If Enel wants to plan the position of the king's Shichibukai, then he must deal with people from the government. Once the hostility of the Tianlong people is aroused, then the position of Chiwahai is basically useless. If they are released, the fact that they kill the slave traders who serve the Draco people will be exposed. Enel would not allow such an unexpected factor to exist. Although this Tianlong person is likely to be a straw bag, the straw bag is even more unprovoked. They don't think about the world situation and so on, and they tend to act willfully. Seeing that you are unhappy, so there is no possibility of negotiating to kill you. Dragon Claw Flying Blade. One after another, the slashes exploded around, destroying everything. The sailboat was smashed to pieces. After sensing it with a sense of sight, and confirming that there was no one alive, Anil flew Carter to the Chambord Islands. Chapter 195. Meet Ming again. Coming to the Chambord Islands, Anil did not rush to find Doflamingo. Now he is probably not Mingi's opponent, so he must be cautious. Ainir's strength has shown a steady growth trend in recent years. As for Doflamingo's words, Enel guessed that he would usher in a sharp increase in strength after the fruit awakened, and the rate of strength growth would slow down in the years that followed. In the future, Ainil's strength will gradually catch up, and then surpass Ming brother, but now, the gap between him and Doflamingo is even bigger than 6 years ago. Doflamingo can fly, it is not a real flight, but by connecting the clouds in the sky with the string fruit, and then pulling itself. Enel flew into the sky and devoured all the surrounding clouds with his dark ability. Cut off Brother Ming's cloud road, and then there will be a way out. Let Roy get into the diving cabin, and Carter takes it into the sea. When everything was ready, Enel called Doflamingo. Hello Dover. It's me, I'm here. Young, you are so fast. It's not long before we finished coding. I'm under tree 59, can you have someone bring the devil fruit over here? It's too close to the Navy headquarters, I'm a little panicked. I don't want to stay here any longer. The Navy station of the Chambord Islands and the entrances and exits of government personnel are on the 60th to 69th Peninsula, which can be regarded as the main gate of the island. Enel chose the number 59 tree as the trading location, and also mentioned the naval headquarters, just to increase Doflamingo's fear, so that he would not be able to do it casually. Even if Dover's strength has been greatly improved, it will take a long time to defeat Enel. If Doflamingo persists, he will probably be dragged to the Navy headquarters to send someone over. It's a little confusing here, so as to avoid accidents, I'll take a trip myself. Young, Brother Doflamingo put down the phone bug and put on his coat. He put all the devil fruits in a bubble, then pulled the bubble with a string and walked slowly off the boat. Enel rolled his eyes, thinking that your subordinates can't even do this little thing well. Of course it was impossible, Doflamingo would come, then there must be other reasons. Dover, you don't need to go over this kind of trivial matter in person, just leave it to us. Pika said sharply. Young, what is the ally who we haven't seen for a long time now? I have to confirm it. This will determine what attitude we should take to treat him in the future. Yo Dover, it's really been a long time. When Doflamingo arrived at the number 59 tree, he saw a young man with hair up to his neck and light blue mysterious lines at the corners of his eyes greeting him. Long time no see, you've grown a lot. Enel was already 1.8 meters tall, but in front of Doflamingo, he still looked like a dwarf. Dover, you are also more general. Without the seriousness and depression of the underworld boss when they met, the two chatted like ordinary people. Dover, did you bring something? Enel entered the topic. Ah, here it is. Next. Doflamingo threw the box containing the devil fruit box at Enel. At the same time there are sharp lines in the past. Enel took the devil fruit and scales appeared on his chest. Stab it. Clothes were scratched. The cutting line collided with the dragon scales, shooting out dazzling sparks. Enel kept the devil fruit aside and ignored it. The more important thing now is to deal with Doflamingo. Dragon Claw Flying Blade. 5 slashes flew towards Brother Ming and were easily avoided. Zung. Deep scars appeared on the tree trunk behind him. Hey, Dover, is this how you treat an old friend you haven't seen in a long time? Enel narrowed his eyes. Young, it's precisely because I haven't seen you for a long time, so I should say hello. 5 color lines. Dragon Claw Cut. The attacks of the two collided in midair, creating a gust of wind. The hair fluttered in the wind, and the windbreaker was blown wildly. Although the movement is not small, as Doflamingo said, it is just a greeting. Dragon Feet Shaved. The crescent-shaped slash spanned dozens of meters and blasted towards Dover. In the face of this huge slash emitting a silver-white light, he didn't make any more movements and kicked it. Boom. Boom. The dust cleared, revealing Doflamingo's unharmed figure. Call out. The armed color domineering wraps the fist. Boom. The two started a close-quarters fight. Fuyang Fu, your fighting skills have improved a lot. You don't throw your fists like a child fighting like in the past. He looked relaxed, and he had time to comment on Enel's changes. Tisk, the gap seems to be widening. Although the move is simple, from this simple test, you can also slightly see the strength of both sides. In the past, there was nothing in Enel to be coveted, so when we first met, Doflamingo simply tested his strength with a parasitic thread, and there was no more movement. As for seeing a potential seed and want to kill it, he is not so narrow-minded yet. How could the owner of the tyrannical and domineering do not even have such courage? Don't be afraid of anyone, and be confident that you can stand at the top. This era of great pirates is itself an era when heroes collide and confront each other. There are countless powerhouses on the sea, there are fights, and there are alliances. As long as they are not clearly enemies, they will not be targeted at all. He's a pirate, not a navy. If it is the navy, in order to maintain the stability of the world, the seeds of evil cannot be allowed to grow. But the pirates don't have so many concerns. This is an era full of romance and fantasy. Even opponents may cherish each other and form friendships. The Golden Lion and Whitebeard sat down and chatted calmly, and Roger entrusted his son to Garp. But the current situation is different. It is related to the issue of 15 devil fruits. If Aniel is too weak and has enough confidence to kill, Doflamingo will never let go. Either do nothing and abide by the agreement, or simply kill the other party neatly. Violating the deal but letting the other party run away, adding a powerful enemy who holds a grudge against himself, is the most stupid way. Doflamingo looked up at the sky. The sky is clear, not a single cloud. The whole sky is pale blue. Luck, not so good. He knew that Enel could fly. As for killing Enel in 3 or 2 seconds before he flies into the sky. Don't be ridiculous, even an admiral may not be able to do it. It is not advisable to take black and black, and he is not sure to kill Aniel. Moreover, although Anel's strength is a little weak, in the collision just now, I feel that his strength is not much improved compared with 2 years ago, but he still has the qualifications as an ally. Doflamingo wasn't going to fight anymore. Actively step back after a punch. Chapter 195 World Situation. Wah 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 hello, just call here, maybe we should talk about the future development. Doflamingo sat cross-legged directly on the ground. Aniel also sat down. We shouldn't be enemies, right? You just made me sweat when you didn't say a word when you met. Of course not enemies, we are allies. But we should get to know each other after we've been away for so long. Hey Enel, what do you think of the current situation at sea? The current situation, isn't it very clear? Whitebeard, Redhead, Ant, and Beasts, those 4 big pirates are like emperors in the second half of the Great Waterway. They divide the New World and continue to expand themselves. Forces, forming a huge military organization. Quote, even the world government was under pressure to withdraw a large number of troops and completely lost control of the New World. The Navy actually controls the 4 seas and the first half of the great shipping route. However, the sea is so vast that the strength of the Navy alone is not enough. The government does not allow them to be too inflated. So, a new military group was born. I think you should be eyeing that position like me. Anel crossed his chin with his fingers. Yee the king goes down to the Chihuahai. The 7 pirates that can be legally plundered by the government, each control a huge national-level combat power. Once the Chihuahai is completely in place, it will become a check on the naval headquarters and the 4 emperors. The 3 major forces camp formation. This sea will calm down. Until one day someone who can break this calm appears, and then a more violent wave will be set off. Doflamingo's eyes flashed with enthusiasm, his arms spread out, a new era will come. Enel would have this understanding because he had read the original book, but at this moment there was only one sentence in his heart, fuck. As expected of Brother Ming, his eyes have been able to see 10 years later. And in this peaceful period, there won't be too many disturbances, and developing silently is the best choice. A neutral position is the best choice for us. Wangxia Chihuahai is the best choice. Location. Quote. It seems that someone is coming. Anel looked aside. Doflamingo is domineering, Doflamingo thought in his heart. From the confrontation just now, he didn't think that Anel had used this, did he hide his strength? Wah wah wah, the movement we made is not too small. It's near the naval base, and it's normal to attract their attention. I can't stay any longer. It's very close to the Navy headquarters. I don't want to be with them. Conflict. No Whitebeard is going to attack the Navy headquarters now. Therefore, the generals can be dispatched at any time. The Navy of the Chambord Islands is much stronger than the original Luffy when they landed. I don't want to be bitten by a mad dog either. Cat, Einol yelled. Carter jumped out of the sea and took in all the devil fruits. Brother Ming, help me collect some devil fruits. I'll pay you 1 billion deposit first. Einol gestured to Carter, who nodded. 3 bags of gold are taken out of the backpack space. Yes. Doflamingo took the gold from Carter. Saw them. Speed up and don't let them escape. The Navy was already within sight. That person is Don Quixote Doflamingo, the great pirate with a bounty of 340 million Baileys. Quickly ask the headquarters for support. I'll go first. The time for my plan to be implemented is imminent, and I don't want to attract too much attention. By the way, this is a little friendship gift for you. It should help you a little. Brother threw a stack of rolled-up paper tied with rope to Enel, and left with the gold. Thank you, we'll meet again when we have time. Enel waved the paper in his hand. Although he didn't know what it was, the little gift that Doflamingo said should not be worthless. Don't move, put your hands up, give up your resistance, you're already surrounded. The Navy ran very fast, and Doflamingo had just left and surrounded Enel. Don't say no, I'm a good citizen. Have you seen my bounty? Enel was sure that ordinary people would not associate himself with the original bounty when they saw him. Comrade Navy, you are finally here, I am so excited. That vicious pirate is blackmailing me. You are too timely. The people need efficient protectors like you. Enel was excited. He took the commander's hand and shook it excitedly. Accidentally failed to control the strength. The lieutenant colonel's face was twisted with pain. Enel didn't notice it, then waved his hand and walked past him. Then I'll go first. Hurry up and catch the pirates. Goodbye. The lieutenant colonel looked at his swollen right hand, which he felt was a comminuted fracture. Generally speaking, the Navy doesn't really do anything to civilians casually. In the original Battle of Judiciary Island, they just took Granny Coco and Chimney as hostages, and they avoided them when they attacked. At this time, a soldier next to him handed him a reward. The lieutenant colonel compared for a long time, and then said, "Stop, if we don't stop, we will shoot." Click. With his orders, the Navy was ready to pull the trigger at any time. You can't go wrong. Anal Viserys Leforwater, there is a bounty of 150 million Baileys. Although the appearance has changed a bit, the pet hasn't changed much. Just catch it. In fact, Carter has also changed a lot. From the perspective of their race, Carter has also changed from a fat kid to a handsome young man. But from a human point of view, it's just fatter, and bigger. Meow. Carter looked at him disapprovingly. What do you mean by not much change? People have obviously become so handsome. Why do you have to make trouble for yourself? Just pretend you didn't see it. Enel restrained his smile and stared at him coldly. Because justice does not allow us to be silent. Surrender, you have. The lieutenant colonel only felt a chill rise from behind, and cold sweat flowed down unconsciously. The navies he led fell one by one. Strange monster. Enel ignored them and left the Chambord Islands. He is still quite afraid of the admiral of the navy. Aokiji and Akainu are fine, but if Kayaburu is trying to escape, it will be troublesome. Now is not the time to face the admiral. Just got 15 devil fruits, he needs to find a place to absorb them. There was also a small gift from Doflamingo, and Enel was also a little concerned. Dober's tone at that time was obviously like a good show. Chapter 196. Dolores Shadlier. Boom, boom, boom. Cannons roared. The waves crashed against the boat, and the hull creaked. The torrential rain fell. Pungla. I'm sorry, no, the cabin is flooded. Captain. What? Go and block it. The pirate captain, who had blood on his head and commanded on the deck with a large knife, shouted anxiously. Damn it. The damn navy is so obsessed with him, He has been chasing after Lao Su for a week. He is a total mad dog, he said bitterly. The waves have expanded the damaged area and can't stop it. This ship is going to sink. Damn it. What to do? Captain, why don't we surrender? Otherwise it will be dead. Damn, is this the end? The pirate captain clenched his fists, and then said sullenly, surrender, we can't go any further. The sailor who observed the movement of the pirate ship with binoculars said, Colonel Dolores, the pirates raised the white flag and surrendered. Don't worry about it. Huh. I said don't worry, keep shelling and sink them. But they have surrendered. Didn't you hear? Give me orders. She gave the Navy a sideways glance. Yes, yes. The sea soldier stood at attention and saluted. She was wearing a mask covering half of her face, a brown tights, black gloves and a cigarette in her mouth. Staring at the pirate ship with hatred on his face, these scumbags on the sea are not qualified to live. Why haven't the shelling stopped? Are they going to kill them all? The pirates looked desperate. Damn Navy. With their unwilling roar and huge roar, the pirate ship was smashed into 2 pieces. Another one. Dolores took out a stack of thick bounty lists and crossed one of them with a big red fork. Colonel, a call from the Navy headquarters. A sailor hurried over with a phone bug. Dolores answered the phone. Hey, what's the matter? Say something, I'm busy catching pirates. Ha ha ha, Sally, you still work so hard. Occasionally relax yourself. Don't try too hard, your body won't be able to bear it. A low male voice came from the opposite side, showing heroism in the roughness. Ah, Grandpa, how many times have I said that my name is Dolores, not Sally? Remember me. What? You're not Sally. Who are you, bastard? Where's my sweet granddaughter? Garp was startled. Okay, I'm Sally. Dolores helplessly raised her forehead. Grandpa, are you okay? Grandpa. Then he heard a grunt. Dolores was silent for a while, then growled, Don't sleep, wake me up. Oops, I fell asleep by accident. Garp woke up and said, Sally, let's go back on vacation, the sea has rarely calmed down recently. Let's go to the East China Sea to meet Luffy and Ace. Ah, you mean those 2 nasty little bastards who want to be pirates? I'm not interested, I'm going to catch pirates. If those 2 guys really dare to be pirates, I'll be the first to catch them. To prison. Ha ha ha, I knew it. Forget it, for the sake of my lovely granddaughter, my vacation plan will be cancelled. I'll accompany you to catch it. Carp laughed. I don't need it, I can handle it myself. Grandpa, you can rest. Don't worry too much about the old man. Ha ha ha, Warring States, listen, my granddaughter is caring about me. Carp proudly showed off, like a child. Sengoku looked at the cold document beside him, and suddenly felt very sad. He looked gloomy and sad, like an empty nest old man. Sally, the opponent this time is not easy, so let me accompany you. That guy reappeared in the sea. Garp's face became serious. That guy, is it him? Where is it? I'm going to kill him. Dolores' face became hideous, and the hand holding the phone bug couldn't stop shaking. Ah, it's him, that guy, you can't handle it. Recent intelligence shows that he is evenly matched with Rob Luigi. CP9 didn't tell the truth. It was obvious that Lucci almost died in the hands of Neil, and they were said to be evenly matched. The order has been issued, let us send warships to cooperate with CP9's actions. Let me go, said Dolores. Ah, you can also go, of course, the old man will also accompany you. He is not a role you can deal with. Not only for you, his existence is also a great threat to justice, and must be erased. I will never let him escape again. Ano laughed as he looked at the little gift Doflamingo had given him. This is not a small gift, at least for Ano at this time, it is a big gift. Ahahaha, it's really interesting. No wonder Brother Ming used that tone at the beginning. So, I'm still a prince. Prince, isn't that the name of the descendants of the royal family in the human world? Roy wore glasses and looked like a human being. Wow, Prince, Is it very powerful? Carter asked with a look on his face. It's nothing powerful, it's just a title. It doesn't mean power, but I'm very interested in this title. The selection of Chihuahai must take into account various factors, not only its own strength, but also a very critical part of power. Moreover, the Chihuahai itself is an institution established to maintain the stability of the power of the sea. The stability of the Chihuahai candidate itself is an important factor. Take a look at Chihuahai in the original book. Except for one who has a ghost and quit Tiki after a while, the rest are relatively stable. Hancock is the king of Nine Snake Island, and she needs to consider her country before doing things. Hexia Jinping, as a symbol of racial peace, needs to take into account the situation of Mermaid Island. Although Hawkeye's words are carefree, he is not a chaotic person himself, and he will not do something that will make the whole world turbulent. And his strength is top-notch in the Chihuahai. Moria lived in the Devil's Sea, and Anon lived his own life. After becoming the Shichibukai, Crocodile actively defended Anabaston, attacked the pirates in the past, and became a hero of the country on the bright side. A good interpretation of the meaning of Chihuahai. On the surface, he is the most competent one. Bartholomew Shong is actively cooperating with the government and participating in weapons research. This guy Doflamingo is an exception. He holds the secrets of the Tianlong people and hijacks the gold in the sky, forcing the government to make concessions. Chapter 197 Rudin also has a dream of becoming a mage. Even Tiki, it is not so easy to get the position of Chihuahai. He prepared a generous gift for the Navy, the captain of the 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, Portgas D. Ace. He took office in a different era than Enel is now. The world had stabilized when Tich began to act. The three major factions check and balance each other, maintaining the relative peace of the sea. However, the world government's control over the world has not been improved because of this, because in addition to the pirates, there is another force that makes them even more troublesome: the Revolutionary Army. The wanton exploitation, oppression and dissatisfaction of the nobles against the people are increasing day by day. As long as a seed of thought, a single spark can form a prairie. As the Revolutionary Army grows stronger, the world government masters can't sit still, and they need a little change. To save the prestige of the government, Blackbeard used Fire Fist Ace as a ticket to let them see an opportunity. Whitebeard, the aging sea overlord, became their target. And Blackbeard, who originally killed his partner and escaped, is a traitor of the Whitebeard pirates. If you want to develop with Whitebeard, then Blackbeard is also a powerful fighting force. So accept him and let him succeed. Crocodile is the new Shichibukai. Enel kept the information Doflamingo gave him. Then take out the devil fruit. Identity or something is secondary, and wanting the seat of Chihuahai is also for more convenient development. It's all about gathering resources and then strengthening themselves. Your own strength is the foundation of everything. In order to be able to do whatever he wants and gain more power, that is his ultimate goal. Enel looked at the devil fruit as if looking at a peerless beauty. His eyes were full of fire. This kind of fruit that is not like the world, with its dense and mysterious patterns, attracts his attention more than any beautiful ketone body. He is able to observe what kind of power is contained in the devil fruit. Still the same, nothing good. They are all the kind that don't feel bad at all when they are used as nourishment. Darkness wrapped the devil fruit around Enel's arm. Then a tinge of purple life force flowed to Enel's heart. This is where his demonic power is stored, and it will only come into play when he wants to use it. Feeling the inflow of life force, Enel let out a comfortable moan. This feeling is so wonderful. It was like a person who had been tired for days and nights suddenly lay on a big soft bed. All tiredness and pain disappeared at this moment. The devil fruit shrivels at a speed visible to the naked eye, and then dissipates into a pile of powder. Enel looked at the powder and felt a little distressed. 99% of the energy was wasted. If he can really utilize these energies perfectly, these fruits will be enough for him to punch the navy, kick the 4 emperors, and give orders to the world. When the 15 devil fruits had been absorbed, Aenir's heart was filled with a dense mass of energy. there with the heart beating slowly. He began to think about which aspects of these demonic powers were used to strengthen. I am afraid that the weakness of water cannot be solved for the time being. I have studied on Haui Island for more than 6 years, but I have not been able to increase the resistance to the weakness of being powerless when encountering seawater. And there is also Carter, who is strong in water battles and swims super fast, so this problem can be slowed down first. If you have resilience, you can already be reborn from a severed limb. If you want to improve it, the resources you need to consume are huge. The hardness of the scales needs to be enhanced, but it is not necessary. By devouring the vitality of animals, it can strengthen the improvement of various aspects of the ability after dragonization. After becoming a dragon, the size becomes larger, the scales become thicker, and the defense power will naturally increase. There is no need to use the precious demonic power on this now. Enel's ranged attacks and wide area strikes have always been his weak points. His battles have always been close quarters combat, with fists, teeth, head and tail, all used as weapons, brutal and violent. The ranged attack he knows is only 2.5 moves. Long Zhu Xiao, similar to Lan Zhu, kicked out the flying slash. But technically, it is far worse than Lan Zhao. He just used his powerful force to forcibly kick it out, which is twice the result with half the effort. Dragon Claw Flying Blade. This is similar to the Dragon Foot Shaving, which uses the power condensed on the dragon claw to slash a small crescent-shaped slash. Compared with the Dragon Foot Shaving, the force is small, the speed is fast, and the frequency is high. After all, if you kick with your feet, all the power will be concentrated in one slash. However, there are 5 dragon claws, and 5 slashes can be slashed at one time. The frequency is high and the power is scattered. There is also a trick, Dragon Breath, that is not lethal at all, it is only a control skill, it is a half-trick. Enel intends to use these demonic powers to enhance his dark abilities. His darkness has always been incomplete, far less powerful than Tich has shown. It's not that he is not well developed, but this is like the evolution of the body, and it needs to consume the vitality of the devil fruit to improve. In the past, he was the mainstay of life. In order to deal with the harsh weather at sea, swords, bullets, etc., gave priority to strengthening his body to enhance his survivability. Now, his survivability has been basically guaranteed. As long as he doesn't commit suicide, he generally won't encounter major problems. Under such circumstances, it is time to pursue lethality. Every meat tank actually has a dream of becoming a mage. Enel's domineering mastery of armament is not complete, it's only half-baked. He can only manufacture and does not know how to store and use it. Using the feature that darkness can absorb anything, he cleverly circumvented some technical difficulties, attracted the armed color, and used an alternative method to condense it. Darkness is a special natural element. Similar to flames and thunderbolts, it is difficult to attach armament colors to natural elements that have no form. Although darkness has no substance, it has a gravitational force that can attract all things. Just like the elementalization of the dark fruit ability, which is completely different from the rest of the natural system, the entity still exists, and gravity itself is his elementalization. Enel once imagined using darkness to absorb the armed color, and then throw it out to form a long-range strike. But this won't work. Once you leave the body, the armed color will become more difficult to control. When Enel practiced Dragon Breath, armed color domineering upgraded version, on Black Moon Island, the breath exploded after flying a few meters, and it did not exert the effect of long-range strikes at all. However, his idea is feasible, that is, the gravity of the dark is not strong enough. When the connection between darkness and the body is cut off, the time to absorb domineering is too short, resulting in no practical significance. Chapter 198. The film should be of good quality. After some thought, Enel finally chose to strengthen the power of manipulating darkness and use it to develop his attack ability. Moreover, the darkness can not only mix in the armed color to use long-range attacks, but also absorb other people's attacks and reduce part of the power. This can also play a defensive role. Although this kind of defense is not as effective as simply strengthening the resistance against a certain strength attribute attack, it is comprehensive. What Enel needed was not a specific enemy, but a wide range of opponents. Any strong person in this sea may become his obstacle. Darkness silently emerged from Enel's body, and thick black smoke surrounded him. The sound of the waves seemed to disappear, and the world became dim. Everything fell into a dead silence. What's going on? Roy felt a little terrified of this sudden change. Don't worry, I have everything, Carter assured, patting his chest. After 6 years, it has also grown a lot, at least the timid side is rarely seen. Moreover, no matter when you are counseled, you can't be counseled in front of Roy. This is the dignity of being a cat. Don't worry, it may be the movement made by Enel. Carter is an old crew member, and he has seen a lot of weird scenes that Enel makes from time to time. Enel, Roy looked at the cabin curiously. A trace of purple energy peeled from the heart and rushed towards the darkness around him. Like a small fish, swimming to the depths of the sea. Every time a ray of purple energy flows into the darkness, the surroundings are dimmed. When all the energy was completely merged with the darkness that rose like a flame, the surrounding space of hundreds of meters was already pitch black, completely engulfed by that depth. Like an extinguished flame, the black smoke gradually disappeared, and the light illuminated the world again. The waves hit again, and the waves were loud. The turbulent waves splashed silver-white water. Ahahaha, it's a really good feeling. Enel felt an infinite power gushing out from his body. Carl's flax branches, which were twisted with great effort, can now be turned into dust with ease. The dark power has increased, and if you want to cause the same destructive power, you only need half of the original physical strength. Enel put his index finger against the center of his thumb, and then popped it out. Black bullet. This is a mini version of the gravity ball, and then mixed with the armed color domineering. Boom. A surf exploded on the sea in the distance. The power is good, and this wave of devil fruits is not bad. It is the first time you use it. You are not very proficient, you need more practice to master it perfectly. This is far more accurate than Enel's gun. For some reason, he never hit the target with a gun or a cannonball. Does the hand black even affect the hit rate? This is an esoteric proposition full of philosophy, and there is no regularity in the birth of the European emperor and the African chieftain. Enel complained to himself, lamenting that he had never arrived home. In fact, in the final analysis, all he thought about before pulling the trigger was how to pose more handsomely and make himself look more majestic and majestic. Never aimed seriously. The purpose of his gun is not to attack the opponent at all, but to make a pass. The seat of Wangxiaqiwahai needs to be obtained as soon as possible. There are still 4 places left, and Brother Doflamingo is about to start, and Brother Ming's shot is basically stable. So what Enel can really fight for is one of the 3 remaining spots. The world government should also consider it. Shot Crocodile, Bartholomew Bear, Moonlight Mariah, none of them are easy to mess with. After absorbing so many devil fruits, Enel's strength has greatly improved, and the growth rate is almost comparable to the 6 years of cultivation. If he really touches these people, he is not cowardly. But if it can be solved in an easier way, then it would be better. Relying on life and death to achieve the goal, that is the most stupid way. So Enel decided to go directly to the country that should belong to him. Get the throne, then apply for an alliance, and then apply for the seat of Shichibukai. But here comes the problem. Doflamingo only gave him a stack of information, no pointers. Enel didn't know how to go. Not sure what to do. Find Brother Ming. Enel decisively dialed Doflamingo's number. Hello, Dover, your information is very interesting. It helps me a lot, but I don't know the direction. Do you have a permanent pointer? Foo, I'm not prepared for this. That island can be reached by sailing along the record pointer. It's a country with no features, and generally few people go there on purpose, so there are fewer permanent pointers. If you go to acquire it now, I'm afraid you might as well go straight along the route as fast as you can. Enel unfolded the map and found the island near Dressrosa. It was on another route, similar to Dressrosa, and could be said to be the entrance to the New World. Oh, I found it, thank you. Enel hung up the phone. Doflamingo complained in his heart, don't you even read the map? Except for the naval base, Enel usually doesn't pay attention to the rest of the islands. Anyway, there are pointers, why do you need a map? Enel scratched his head and went to Mermaid Island, so troublesome. It has to be artificially layered. The quality of the film must be excellent, and it cannot be broken by a stab. If it breaks, it won't be as simple as bleeding, it's fatal. Enel has a little bit of fear of the deep sea, a place that his current power cannot reach. If something goes wrong, he will probably become the true dragon of death. Enel considered going back to Chambord coating. But I'm afraid of encountering unscrupulous profiteers, or the kind who sell them without their craftsmanship, then it's really a slap in the face. Shall we go to Riley? Although his job as a pirate, being a coating craftsman is just a hobby. The coating technology is excellent, and the straw hats did not break the film even in such a mess. His integrity should also be guaranteed. As the right arm of the Pirate King, he will never harm the new star of the pirate world for no reason. Maybe by the way, you can also ask how to use domineering. Well, my domineering level is so bad, it must be because I don't have a good teacher. Doflamingo's cultivation method is really tricky. Enel lifted his chin and looked up at the sky. Carter, who practiced in the same way as him, perfectly mastered the domineering, silently gnawed at the fish without saying a word. In fact, the way of cultivation that Brother Ming gave him is considered a work of conscience. Maybe because he is a pirate, the words are not so accurate, but what should be expressed has been clearly expressed. Enel can't learn, it's purely a personal problem. Chapter 199 Shaggy's Blackmail Bar. In fact, the safest way for Enel is to buy a permanent pointer first, and then fly directly to the Red Soil continent. Anyway, with Carter's backpack space, the boat or something is not a problem. After thinking about it for a while, Enel rejected this idea again. One is that he doesn't know where to buy, he has no way. The second is that he must move fast, otherwise it will be difficult for him to become Chihuahai after Brother Ming becomes Chihuahai. After carefully thinking about the branch of the Shichibukai forces, Enel found that their territory was also very particular. From Anabaston in Crocodile to Dressrosa in Doflamingo, the divisions are all over the Great Waterway, with little overlap. The purpose of the world government's choice is to avoid conflict or collusion between the Shichibukai too close. And evenly distributed everywhere, it can also better suppress the rest of the pirates, which is conducive to stability. The country Enel was interested in was too close to Dressrosa. At that time, his and Doflamingo's spheres of influence will overlap. And he and Ming Jie are connected to the world government should also know. So once Brother Ming takes the lead in becoming Chihuahai, his chances will be greatly reduced. If he loses the election, he will have to give up the country if he wants the position of Chihuahai, and then he will only be able to ascend after defeating a former Chihuahai head-on. Such large-scale conflicts were not what Enel wanted. But Enel wouldn't just rush to Fishman Island without thinking about it. You know, the danger is not only the water pressure, but also the dangerous currents on the bottom of the sea. He doesn't have a smart navigator, and if he gets involved, it's over. He had to ask Carter if he could dive to a depth of 10,000 meters. If so, then there is a guarantee. 10,000 meters of water pressure may not be able to crush Enel. In the original book, the boats of Caribou's trashmen were damaged by Kraken, and they were still alive and well. Although it wasn't even 10,000 meters at that time, Enel's body was much stronger than them. After an accident, if Carter can quickly bring him back to the sea, then it is not a big problem. As long as you don't breathe out completely, no matter how serious the injury is, you can recover. But Roy was a problem. Enel might be able to withstand that water pressure without dying, but it couldn't. Enel glanced at Roy, planning to foster with Shachi first. Although in Shachi's eyes, Enel is probably the same, unlovable newcomer, as Kid, but the other party should not refuse such a trivial matter. Cat, can you dive to a depth of 10,000 meters? Enel asked. Yes, I was born in that kind of place, that's trivial. I haven't seen an ocean where I can't dive. Carter looked determined. Can you avoid the ocean currents at the bottom of the ocean? Of course, I played in the ocean currents when I was a kid. Good. Enel snapped his fingers. Carter is such a good helper for family trips, and Enel loves it. Come on, let's go back to the Chambord Islands. The disturbance caused by Enel and Doflamingo at Tree 59 has subsided. Since both of them have already run away, there is no need for the Navy headquarters to send someone here. Enel didn't know where Shachi's bar was, and he couldn't remember such small details. He scanned the whole island with his knowledge. Some people are able to control their voices and make others' judgments about their strengths and weaknesses blurred. If it is an ordinary sight, it may not be possible to find Rayleigh. And Enel's sight can sense life energy, which is generally impossible to hide. Enel sensed that two high-quality lifeforms were coming together. One of them even surpassed himself. In Enel's perception, the vitality of ordinary humans is green, and the darker the color, the stronger the body of that person. That living body, showing a very rich green color, is like a camphor leaf under the summer sun. This is kind of creepy. For people with such vitality, there are not many people in the whole world. At this time, they will be here. Enel can only think of one Hades, Rayleigh. Enel soon came to Peninsula 13. A row of stairs leads to the top of the tree roots, where there is a shop. Hanging a sign Shaki's Blackmail Bar. Doors and windows take the shape of wine bottles. Push the door in. There were only two people in the store, the lady boss who still had the charm, and a handsome uncle with silver hair. Welcome, Shachi said when she saw Enel coming in, I want something. Bring me a glass of apple juice and serve it forget it. Enel turned his head and found that Carter was already rummaging through the refrigerator, biting a salted fish at the corner of his mouth. Is there ice cream? Roy asked. Here, Shachi handed Roy a large pink ice cream. This one costs 100,000 Baileys. Roy, who was full of joy, froze when he heard this number. I don't have that much money. Carter threw out 1,000,000 Baileys and said proudly, give me 10. Shachi's mouth twitched. She was just joking. Is this child heartless? Shachi's fee is actually quite reasonable, and the only ones who will be extorted are those pirates who want to eat and drink for free. She deliberately wrote the name of the bar like this, just to let those stupid pirates who don't believe in evil come to her door. Like fishing. It's so deserted here. Has business always been this bad? Enel asked casually. No, today is a special case. Two pirates were making trouble on Peninsula 59, and the Navy was moved. The people who came to my business were generally not serious people, so they all hid. Shachi complained, said. Hey Tilda, this is the so-called not doing bad things, not afraid of ghosts knocking on the door. Just like me, I do it straight, even if the Navy comes, I dare to go out and go shopping. These days, people like me are disciplined and law-abiding. There are not many good people. Enel shook his head, sighing that the world was getting worse. Also, for a confident newcomer like you, the General Navy probably won't be able to cause you any trouble. Shachi breathed out a smoke ring. But you still have to be careful on this island. Admirals from the Navy headquarters may be dispatched at any time. In general, you should be careful. If it's not necessary, don't make trouble. Otherwise, those of us who set up shops will be very distressed. Oh, you already know, the news is really well informed. Enel took a sip of his drink. I don't know when you landed, but the Navy is so aggressive, if you don't find out, it's a bit hard to tell. You and Doflamingo are the two most valuable people on this island right now. Chapter 200 Raleigh's Story and the Deepwater Cat. That guy Dover should have already left, and you don't seem to be right. A certain legendary man is sitting next to him. Is it really good to ignore him like this? Pluto Shilba's Riley. Enel took a drumstick from Carter's plate. Don't call that name casually. I've long since given up washing my hands. I still want to live a peaceful life for a few days. My current identity is Lao Lei, a filmmaker. Rayleigh held a glass of wine, his glasses reflecting the light. Has the supernova that has been hidden for 6 years and reappeared in the eyes of the world have anything to do with me, an outdated old man? Old man. No, it's a living legend. It's still the people of your era who dominate the sea now. The new era is still in the distant future. If even a big man like you can only be regarded as an old-fashioned old man, then what am I? A stinky boy. I'm just visiting the senior as a junior. Although the freedom I want is not the same as that of Roger. However, everyone who firmly pursues his dream is worthy of admiration. Roger, and his companions, are well-deserved heroes. Enel selectively ignored a certain red nose. Well, although I am proud to have juniors who look up to me, it's better to come less often. You are the most wanted target of the Navy. Of course, the reason I just mentioned is only secondary. The real reason is to ask you to help me code it. Ha 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 ha, it's really interesting. You came here to find me just for coding. Of course, there are quite a lot of profiteers these days. I'm afraid of being scammed. This is a matter of life and death. You have to find someone you can trust. If that's the case, then I can't betray your trust. I'll go over and help you code it later. But first, it's not cheap. After all, you get what you pay for, and the quality will be guaranteed. Old man, I too have to live. Money is of course not a problem. Let One Piece's right hand help. The appearance fee can't be lower, can't it? Ha ha ha, bold. Rayleigh drank the wine in one gulp. So where is your ship? Riley moved his shoulders, ready to work. Cat. Carter took the 2-meter diameter diving pod out of the backpack space. Rayleigh looked at the spherical object, and the corner of his mouth twitched. You guys are going to Mermaid Island on this one. That's right, don't underestimate it. I used this to escape from that old man carp. Enel was very proud of the emergency escape method he had prepared. Coding a boat has a high chance of failure, simply because right-angled areas like masts can easily become weak points. And the diving cabin of Enel, there is no difficulty at all. No matter how poor the craftsmanship is, there is no possibility of failure. Oh, you made that guy garp deflated. Rayleigh showed an interested look. I am a little impressed with you, little brother. Back then, I was chased around the world by him, and I was almost caught several times. It's amazing that you can escape from him. Shachi took a breath cigarette. It's nothing to brag about being chased and fleeing. Enel shrugged. Rayleigh studied Enel's diving capsule. It's just a hollow iron ball. Can you really get to Mermaid Island on this? Don't worry, it's all right. Cats are good swimmers, Enel said. Rayleigh glanced at Carter and was greatly surprised. So that's the case, indeed. If it were it, the ocean currents near Fishman Island wouldn't be a problem at all. This is really a very rare race. Even I have seen it before. Not many times. Quote. Do you know Carter's race? Can you talk about it? I've always been curious. The cat is so powerful that it's a bit abnormal. It can knock down ordinary small sea kings before they are adults. The fighting talent is amazing, learn it. Domineering comes much faster than me. Enel showed a curious look. Oh, have you learned to be domineering? This is rare in the first half of the Great Waterway. Rayleigh flashed a hint of surprise. How dare you go to the New World without 2 or 3 brushes? My 6 years are not in vain. It appears to be a deep-water cat. Deep-water cat. Enel glanced at Carter. Carter also looked at Rayleigh curiously, who didn't know what humans thought of them. Rayleigh looked nostalgic. He was old. Even though his body is not old at this moment, his heart is already old. Because his captain is no more. The passions and adventures, dreams and freedoms of the past are gone with Roger's passing. At that time, the partners also went their separate ways, to the ends of the earth. Quietly live in seclusion somewhere, sitting and watching generations of newcomers rush to the sea. Carrying a dream, chasing the footsteps of Roger, looking for that big secret treasure. Their era is coming to an end. Recalling the glorious years now, Rayleigh couldn't help but feel a little empty in his heart, and there was also a bit of loss in his eyebrows. His tone was full of vicissitudes, like bitter wine that had been precipitated for decades. That was when we sailed to Mermaid Island for the first time in the deep sea with no light. Roger suddenly heard a mysterious voice, as if someone was calling for help. At that time, we laughed at him. Wrong. In the deep sea how could anyone speak? Ha ha ha. Listen to everything, Anal interjected. You know so much. Compared with you, we were like little kids who didn't know anything at the time. Riley sighed with emotion. I don't have the courage of Roger. Just rushing to the sea, but the merciless waves will swallow up not even the scum. Rayleigh continued. Yes, it is the ability to listen to all things. It is the sea kings that are thousands of meters long. This is supposed to be the overlord of the deep sea, and even we can't communicate with the ocean at a depth of 10,000 meters. Confrontation. However, at this moment, an accident happened. The huge mountain-like sea king suddenly wailed and screamed. In the darkness, a pink light illuminated the entire seabed. The pink light group is as dazzling as the sun. Everything around is clear. What we see is a sea king with many scars. The scars that can be seen deep in the bones seem to be cut out by a great swordsman. The blood flowed like a waterfall, dyeing the bottom of the sea red. Quote. The giant beast struggled and stirred up a huge vortex. Our ship was also attracted by the vortex. Finally, after approaching, we found that the pink light source that was fighting against the behemoth was a cat.